Hey everybody, welcome back to Fandomly Speaking,
where each week we speak randomly about fandoms. I'm Liza.
And I'm Melissa, and this week we are getting so random about Lost. Seasons 1 through 3.
Lost seasons 1 through 3.
We're going to try and get through seasons 1 through 3.
So today there will be all the spoilers about Lost. I hope that after 20 plus years you have watched it, but if you've never seen it, please go watch it and come back and have fun with this podcast, because I am so excited today. We have had this podcast planned since the beginning.
Yes. So. I mean, Liza's been watching. I went and rewatched. Oh, and also our other warning is we are two Gen X autistic women. We have no idea ever what's coming out of our mouths. And when it comes to Lost, it turns out that we are both so into it.
Yeah.
So into it. So it's going to be nuts.
And when we get excited, we kind of get really excited.
We get really excited.
Just warning.
So
Fair
we
warning.
hope you're going to get really excited with us. So, okay. Other than prepare for the Lost episode, what'd you do this week in Keaton?
Well, I can't remember if I had last time or not, but I did finish all 7 of the Dungeon Crawler Carl, and then my husband finished them, and he moved on to, like, my husband has read 9 books, so never have read books his whole adult life to have now read 9 books for pleasure. That's, like, amazing. I'm so happy.
Oh, I love that. I really got to try to get Bill to do that.
It's so good. And I read a book called, what was it called? T.J. Klune's The Bones Beneath My Skin. Do you read T.J. Klune? I love T.J. Klune.
I've read the Cerulean Sea.
Yeah, so the Cerulean Sea, most people read that, and that's like a duology. God, those books are so sweet. He writes the best, like, queer romance, and they're just the most sweetest thing. And this is a bit different. And it was set in 1995, and I was like, I'm at the age where now books set in the past are in the 90s. And that sucks. So this one was kind of like Close Encounters, kind of a deal. Kind of neat. And I've been watching Buffy. I finished all the high school years and into the college years, and I realized that I apparently, when I was in college, because Buffy and I are the same age, like she was out at the exact same time when she was in college. When I was in college, I didn't have cable, so I have not seen a lot of these episodes.
Oh, you missed all the Riley.
I mean, I did, and I was like, is that professor watching them have sex? Oh my god! Like, I mean, I'm just scandalized by these episodes. So
it's a lot. There's a lot going on Buffy. Cool. So you did a lot. For me this week, it's been lots and lots of Lost, because I'm trying to finish. I'm in the home stretch. I'm halfway through season 5.
You are.
So, and I. What else did I do this week? I should look at my notes. I've been watching Gossip Girl, because Bill and I started rewatching Gossip Girl because it makes us happy. So I've been watching that a lot. And I am almost done with the second Dungeon Crawler Carl book. And then, I mean, I feel like most of this week was just trying to make sense of Lost and watching Lost and reading about Lost. Because I had gotten a couple of books on Lost, but I have this one on the philosophy of Lost. It's just, if you're into philosophy, it's really, really interesting, but it does also, kind of ask some of the philosophical questions. I mean, this show is all about philosophy.
Right, and there's some questions that are only answered in those books, right? Like, there's some things they never answered, and they put them in those books. Well,
I don't know that, but I mean, they give you like okay, that's what that meant. Like, sometimes we just right over your head.
Because I was looking up, just last night trying to prep, I'm like, did we ever figure out why and what the numbers were? But apparently the numbers are only in those books, like what they were and why they were those numbers and stuff.
Oh, I've never seen, I didn't finish this book yet. I didn't see any explanation for why those numbers.
Some, calculation about something, and it was never in the show.
Is it like, does it make a Fibonacci sequence or something?
I'm hoping that you knew that. I was hoping that you...
No! Okay, so, first question for the audience. Do you know what the numbers mean?
Yeah,
please tell us.
Exact numbers?
Please tell us, because we have no idea. So if you've ever watched Lost and you've talked to a friend about Lost... you know that you start out in one place and you try to stay organized, but then it turns into
Yeah, man.
You know, it's a mess. So we're going to try really hard to stick to seasons 1 through 3, but if you have not seen the entire show, we might spoil.
Did you watch Lost when it came out, like week to week?
Not in the beginning. So I believe the first few seasons I didn't. And then I started catching up watching it on the train. And then I got caught up with everybody else. And I think I watched from like the end of season 4 on. I was kind of caught up.
You got a lot done on that train.
And then I was stuck. You know, spend an hour and a half on the train every day. It's not like I'm talking to people. And reading on the train would always make me a little nauseous. So watched a lot of TV.
I did watch it on TV.
Yeah. So you did you watch it on TV?
I caught it. I don't know if it was like the first episode, but we caught it on TV every week. It was the first show that I was like,
wow.
I mean, I've always loved television. Who in the 80s and 90s didn't? I always loved television, but this was the first show that I was like, oh my God, everyone I know needs to watch this show. Everyone has to watch it. And I told everybody and got everybody I knew into it.
She's like, I need to talk to you about this.
That's right.
Yes.
And there weren't like chat rooms. It was like message boards, you know, and everybody was trying to figure out what was going on in these message boards. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was that like? Were people, when you look back on that, like, how right were you guys about what you thought was going on? Like, and how wrong were you?
I said this to you in a few episodes we've done where we've just kind of talked a little bit about it. Lost is not the kind of show to watch week to week, you know, where you have to wait a week and then when the season's over, wait months and then even years to get. There are so many questions that it presents you with. And if you watch it as one long series, they all get answered. Every question gets answered, but it may be years later that it got answered, and you forgot you had that question.
Do you really think every question gets answered?
Well, I mean, like what's that polar bear? You know, most of the big things that were like, what the fuck moments when they happened on TV, they do get answered. But, you know, by the time it does, you forgot you even had that question when I was watching it on TV. It was...
I guess so. And you know what I noticed? It did not go into syndication. Yeah. So, and I was thinking, I was like, but did other shows, like, and I also think 24 didn't. Because 24, I think, came out when Lost was already on the air. But I think there are some shows, and this is one of them, that do not lend themselves to syndication. Because syndication is casual viewing. So syndication is, I don't watch it every day. I catch it. You know, they play 2 episodes, you know, from 10 till noon every single day of the week. And I see some of them while I'm doing whatever. You can't watch Lost.
You can't hop into Lost.
You can't watch Lost and play a video game. Because I've tried these things. You can't watch Lost and edit a podcast. Like, I can watch Gossip Girl and edit a podcast. Like, I can do, but you miss too much, and you end up rewinding and going, what? And how many times did you rewind and go, what? And then watch it again and go, yep, nope,
right? Like, people were screenshotting things in, like, slow motion. I mean, yes, we were really, really into these theories and what the hell is going on and what is that? And everybody was, like, stopping and examining everything in every frame. It was such a weird phenomenon on TV back then.
It was just such a wonderful mystery. And I'd like us to start by kind of acknowledging some of the reasons why 20 years later, people are still talking about Lost. So first, the thing that nobody ever talks about is the music. Now, I'm not saying that's the reason why we're still talking about Lost, but I made a note on our notes to make sure to mention Michael Giacchino. I'm probably mutilating your name. If I were going to say it in Italian, I would say Giacchino, but I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. But is the person in charge of the music on this show. And the music is so good that I like, there are recurring themes that are so good. There's the travel music. There's the emotional, heartbreaking music. There's the relaxation music. There's the emotional, happy stuff. And they're done so well that just when you hear like the strain of a violin or I could hear that music, especially like the happy, beautiful Lost music. I could hear that, and I'm like, I'm on, and even if I'm not watching the show.
What I noticed is when I started watching, because you've watched it multiple times since it came out. I have not watched it since. You know, I watched it and I loved it, and I haven't watched it since. And so I watched the whole thing.
Wow.
And what I noticed is 20 years later, this show is gorgeous. You know, it's not like 2004 was decades and decades and decades ago. It's not so long ago, but shows on TV did not look like that back then. This looked like a blockbuster movie. The cinematography was unreal. Now, he had a tendency to get up in people's nostrils and shake the camera a lot, but I'm just saying the cinematography and how amazing it looked. I was just sitting there like, I can't believe that this show was shot 20 years ago and was on TV every week. Yeah. It was beautiful.
And the pilot is the most expensive pilot ever made for television.
I mean, it looks like a blockbuster
and
movie.
It still is if you adjust for inflation. And they had, and there's this, there's a documentary on Amazon, I've mentioned it 1,000 times, I'm sure, called Getting Lost, and it's really, really great. And it explains that they got the studio to let them spend all of this money, including, that was a real airplane. And so airplanes get retired, and there's basically airplane junkyards. And so they found an airplane, had it cut up, and transported to that beach in Hawaii. The airplane was there. It was real. They were, on the beach. They filmed in Hawaii. And they did it in the most expensive ways that you could do it. And the funny part is the whole time that these guys were making this pilot, they kept believing that this show was never going to get picked up. But damn it, they were going to make the best pilot that anybody ever made. And the reason they thought it wouldn't get picked up was because the only way to continue to do the show, and live up to the potential of the pilot was going to be expensive. And they got picked up. But that also explains things like, what the heck is the monster? What is that noise? What's the smoke? Why is there a polar bear? Like, there's so many things that they set up that then the writers had to go,
what are we going to do with that now?
Like, we didn't have a plan for actually getting picked up as a series. And what I just found out a couple of days ago, so I don't know if you noticed, so we're going to do seasons 1 through 3, and seasons 1 through 3, they meander quite a bit, and then season 4 is a short season because the writer's strike. And then after that, during the strike, they finally figured out, okay, let's do 2 16-episode seasons with a very, they figured out, all 32 of those episodes. So at the end of the show, they finally have a show Bible and a plan. But in the first 3 seasons, winging it.
And that's why those last 3 seasons have a totally different feel. I think it lost people. We have a whole episode about losing the fandom. I think it lost people because they feel different. Those last 3 seasons feel different than these first 3 seasons.
It's like, what show am I watching? It's very, very different. It's no longer about, and what I love about these first 3 seasons, it's about the island, but it's not about, it's more about the mystery and less about the people and how they're forming relationships. Like, I'm fascinated by how they start to form a society. Like, very early on in the show, when they split between the caves and the beach, they actually set up a form of commerce without acknowledging that that's what happened. Jack brings water down from the caves to them every day and brings fish back up to the caves. That's trade. That's commerce. So and it's it was only in 3 weeks.
This first pilot especially, the reason why it sucks you in, not only is it so beautiful, and I've never seen anything like that on television before, ever. We have this massive plane crash in the first few minutes, a guy gets sucked into the engine. That's movie stuff. That's not on TV. That's not something, and you're still like, oh my God, what's going on? what's happening here? And so we start to see in this pilot, a few star players start to come out, and we start to see kind of who's going to be our main characters, right? And so who are we going to be focusing on? And that's, so what are your opinions on these guys that come out? We have Jack, we have Sawyer, we have Kate, John Locke, Saeed. Who else comes out in like that first episode? Hurley.
Well, Boone, Hurley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because Boone runs off into... I mean, let's start... I mean, Shannon she's the girl that stands there and screams. And every time I'm watching the pilot of Lost, Bill is like, oh my God, you're watching Lost. Because she just stands there and screams like a lunatic for a good portion of the time. But I also think that's
pretty a normal response, right? Like, people are going
to
do
realistic.
That. Yeah.
That is extremely realistic. And I have tried to put myself... because I like to do this, and I do have a very deep fantasy world in my head, and now I've put myself on the island because I've also put myself on the Enterprise, and I've been on Voyager. I put myself in these places, and I have tried to think, and I encourage all of you to think. I ask myself, what would I have been like? So if I survived the crash and I'm mobile, right, and I'm not seriously injured, what would I have done? And based on what my career has been before you knew me, before I was doing the YouTube, back when I was an able-bodied human being, I was in facilities management. And so, and I worked in a hospital for 6 years, and I was on the disaster team and like helped rewrite the disaster manual. So I know what I would do. I'd be in there.
Oh, you'd be Jack.
Getting everybody organized, right? Like Saeed is like, we need to get a signal fire going. I'd be like, yes, we need to do that. We need to find fresh water. We don't know how long we're going to be here. Okay, let's organize the people. Like that. I know that that's what I would have done. But I also think it's very realistic to stand there and scream.
I agree. There would definitely be a lot of screaming going on.
A lot of screaming.
And if you think about also when we see the tailies, and their experience was so different because they all landed in the water, and they didn't have any of that luggage or food, the food carts, nothing, and they were having to just drag people out. Yeah, it's a totally different dynamic. They went a little more Lord of the Flies over there than the front
because they had such a more violent experience of the whole thing. And I think that was interesting that they showed like. It's almost like the people at the beach had beach privilege.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, you landed on the beach. We landed in the water. And they were also like, the tailies were on a section of the island that was less hospitable. Like, there wasn't a nice beach, and there weren't caves. And, it's just like we're in the jungle trying to live. And we're getting picked off left and right by these people in the middle of the night.
You asked a question on social media that if you had landed there that first day, who would you have gone with? So you just said what you would have been, but who would you would you have gravitated to Jack or to Locke or to Saeed?
Oh, I probably would have teamed up with like Jack and Saeed and been like, okay, like let's get stuff done. I would have been part of the let's get stuff done team. So I definitely would have. I don't know if I would have followed Jack, but I mean, he's a doctor, and in a situation like that, I'm like, dude, what do you need us to do? How can we help?
I'm firmly in like Team Rose. Like, y'all leave me the hell alone. I'm going to sit on the beach over here and just be happy that I'm not sick anymore. And y'all do what you're going to do.
Yeah. Really. I think over time, Team Rose and Bernard look like they had it going
exactly.
the best.
They knew what was going on.
When we see them, we'll talk about that next episode, but we're like, yep. Yeah.
And it's so funny to me because she is an older woman, and that is kind of how I think a lot of us would react. Like, I am not with all of your drama, and I'm not with all of this running around in your love triangles and your just go leave me out of it.
What? I survived a plane crash. I have some food. I have shelter. I'm gonna do that. Yeah. Okay. Whatever you people are doing, get over it. One of the things that I noticed in the pilot, and it shows me from the very beginning. Nobody is actually listening, and they do this a lot on the show. People say what they need or what they want, and then nobody listens to that. They just go off and do whatever they were going to do anyway.
There's a lot of that.
And that it starts from the very beginning. There's a lot of
stereotyping written into these characters, especially in these first episodes before they kind of grow.
Yes.
And so we got Jack over here, savior complex. He's got to save everybody, pull everybody out of everything, and we got to
great white
give me a
savior.
Pin so I can, stick it. Yeah. It's so crazy. Sawyer, I think, was written. I think I made a social about this when I first started writing. Started rewatching. That Sawyer, I think, was written as the asshole. Like, that's how they wanted us to see him. Hey, he's an asshole. Don't like that guy.
But no.
But as it goes on, Sawyer's the only one who is not selfish. Like, he's the least selfish. I know he's taking stuff, but he's the least selfish and the most mature of these, like, 6 people.
He ends up, the hero was always in Sawyer. And he does, and it's weird because he does listen to people because he's a con artist, and he always has to listen to people so he can know how to. And does he con people? Yeah. Does he do shitty stuff? Yeah, because that's who he is. But he's also turns out to be a person you can depend on. He's the most practical,
right? And he's self-sacrificing. And he's like very emotionally mature through these episodes, whereas Jack and Kate
I know
like,
you guys are like, you're like Sawyer's emotionally mature. Is. Yes, actually,
he doesn't end up with Juliet for nothing. You know what I mean?
No,
she had her shit together,
and
I got that one.
Well, she gets her shit together. Oh, she had her shit together. She had issues too. Ones. Let's not forget she was not no angel there, but so you got Sawyer and then you've got Locke, who, this is very interesting pilot detail. Terry O'Quinn did not know. Is it O'Quinn or is it just Quinn? Terry Quinn? I think Terry Quinn, I think. He did not know that his character was paralyzed.
Did he not? That's so crazy.
Nope. They gave him direction, wiggle your toes, look down. He did not know. So I think that is really cool. And then Kate. They wanted us to love Kate, didn't they? Like, they put her in there. She was this American sweetheart. She's so cute, right? She's so sweet, and she is gorgeous on that island. They wanted us to love her, but damn, did they write her. She sewed curtains for her apartment once. When he asked her, do you know how to sew with like a needle and thread? She's like, I sewed curtains once. Like, they wanted us to love Kate. And I mean, you do in the beginning, but then very early on, you're like...
The way she was written to run from everything actually gets annoying very quickly. Like, that's incredibly annoying. Yes. And her backstory, it's not tragic to me. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Humanity, like just as human beings, like her backstory doesn't make sense. And I'm not trying to belittle anyone's trauma. She had trauma, but a lot of people have similar trauma to her. And they don't blow up their fathers. Like, this was not a normal response to what had happened. She very much went goodbye Earl on this man who she claims herself that had not touched her. Now, that doesn't mean she wasn't abused, but he had not specifically been abusing her. Just, you've lived with this man, so you murder him, and then you go on a murdering spree, and you get your teenage boyfriend or your high school boyfriend also murdered when he has a wife and kid. You're just a bad person. Like, Kate was a bad person.
And not only does she burns him to death in the house. So she burns down her mother's house, but she's like, but it's all good, Mom, because I took out insurance policy on the house. And it's like, well, gee, thanks, Kate, for making me suspect number one. You idiot. You didn't help anybody with anything in doing that. That was so. She shows off. We see in her flashbacks. In her flashbacks, not really good, strong decision making, and I don't think that she comes off as a strong female lead. Think so. Because and Evangeline Lilly later on has complained, and I think she does it in that documentary as well, that whole love triangle thing, it became her story, and that is not how she wanted Kate's story to be. And they got so lucky because they cast a person without realizing that she could climb trees. She was very outdoorsy. So the actress could climb trees. She hiked a lot. So they were like, okay, climb that coconut tree. And she's like, oh, yeah, coconut tree. Like, they were able to do so much with Kate's character because of Evangeline Lilly's skill set. And they could have made her a really strong character, and instead they made her confused about which boy.
But it's also that love triangle's obnoxious. It's kind of funny that Sawyer ends up with all of Jack's women. You know, he ends up with Kate, and he ends up with Anna Lucia, and he then ends up with Juliet. It's like, if Jack has his eye on her, Sawyer's like, you know what? I also have my eye on that.
I'm gonna tap that.
But Kate's, that's not how adults act. Again, that's just not how adults typically act. Like, I just don't know. Do I want this boy, but I also want that boy? Like, that's not the way grown women.
So I'm gonna lead both of them on, and in the middle of us being, you know, on a deserted island with no hope of escape. That doesn't seem to be a good. I think the first plan should be let's for a while not like have any relationships happening. Like, I'm not gonna. I know that I've just been traumatized. Let me not form any romantic inclinations here, because they're not going to be good. Charlie,
I love
Charlie, and I am so surprised at the Charlie hate online. So many people hate Charlie
from the beginning. Like, I haven't seen it, so is it like his washed up drug?
Yeah, they're like, he's a washed up drug addict rock star, and he's creepy with Claire, and I'm like, well, he is
creepy with Claire. He's a little pushy with Claire.
He's a little pushy, and things get a little weird once the baby's born, and he starts acting like he's her husband and the baby's father, but they're not actually in a relationship, like, ever. You know, there's like, before he dies, she kisses him goodbye. It's the only time they ever kiss.
Well, if you actually, I was just saying how the way that Kate acts is not really how people act. I think that the way Charlie acted is how a lot of men act. That is kind of a normal way that a lot of dudes act. Charlie, he comes off as just very relatable. I think his character was written pretty well. And Dominic does it pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I like him, and as we get to see more and more of his backstory, he does become more tragic to me, because, I mean, this was a boy who was, you know, considering, you know, a life in the church, and ends up becoming a rock star. And even when he becomes a rock star, even though he's sleeping with two women, when he's going to confession about how he had relations, and then he had intimate relations, and then I watched them have intimate relations. But he's in confession because, you know, Charlie,
he's one of the only ones in the story who doesn't have this tragic backstory with his parents and growing up. He had a very normal household, you know, two parents, a sibling, and they all got along and loved each other. So his backstory happened when he got addicted to drugs, and that happens. That happens to a lot of people. So
yes,
I don't know, it's very realistic.
And it's heartbreaking. And a note I'm going to throw in here, and these are going to happen throughout these are, I'm going to call them things that bumped for me, because that's how they describe it on the on the Supernatural Then and Now. Rob and Rich will be like, yeah, that's that bumped for me, which is where it like takes you out of the narrative. Okay. How did everybody find clothes that fit them? Because not everybody found their luggage, A. B, Hurley continually has new clothes throughout all of the seasons. Unless he found his luggage, where the fuck is Hurley getting his clothes from? And I'm not saying that in any way to be, you know, fat phobic or anything. It's for me, it's just
found the luggage. Some people didn't find
thing.
Their own luggage, but just presumably there was a lot of luggage and stuff they all went through. I know, and I don't remember what episode it was. They cataloged everything they had, and that was kind of Hurley's job. Yeah. Like, you go through and catalog all the crap we have. So it's just one of those things. I just gotta put it back here and go, yeah, I guess that happens. Kind of like all the medicine. Even with a plane full of 100 people, they would not have had as much medication as they had.
No.
There's so much medication.
Why was everybody traveling with antibiotics?
Everybody's on Keflex.
Yep, yeah. And what was the other one that the nudie magazine. So when they steal everything from Sawyer's you know, when the board, you know, and whatever happened. Oh no, it's when he's away in the cages. And they steal his stuff. He has at least 10 nudie magazines. How many people are traveling with nudie magazines? Like, I could see books. Like, I could see having a lot of books and magazines. Porn? Nudie magazines? I don't know.
Yeah, they really wanted us to believe people were traveling with all sorts of stuff.
And then the other thing, another one is bras. The women continue to wear bras.
Oh my God, it's not even the bras.
Why?
The thing, if you want to talk about bumps me right out of it, makes me mad. And it's not just in Lost. It's in everything. Every single thing. Mm-hmm. Why
I know where you're going.
Are they shaving their armpits and their legs and everything? Who's doing that on a deserted island? And the answer to that question is no one. No one's doing that. Now, they do show, like, Jack shaving sometimes, so I understand maybe the men want to do that. Maybe. But I promise you, if I am on a deserted island...
apparently growing a beard when it's humid, it's, like, it's better to, like, not have the facial hair.
If I'm on a deserted island, the first thing I'm doing is not shaving my armpits and legs and things. And everyone throughout the whole...
Sweetie, I don't shave my legs after September, okay? No. They get shaved again in June.
Right. Ugh.
No one cares. I shave under my arms only because I'm like, I think that's going to make it less smelly. I don't know. But, you know, that one, and there's this scene where, see, I told you guys this was going to go all over the place, where, that with the Halliburton case.
Oh, yeah, the guns.
You know, that has the guns in it,
Marshall.
right? So Kate and Sawyer find this beautiful waterfall swimming hole, and they go swimming in it.
Down there.
So... There's dead people down there, which is so
gross.
Gross. I hate that scene. But, so this is very interesting to me. Sawyer takes off his shirt, but leaves his jeans.
I know why.
Have you ever swum in jeans?
I know why, though, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken, because I recognize that too, isn't it because, and he mentions this at some point, he doesn't have any underwear? So he's just got nothing going, so he can't take a...
He's going commando all the time. But which is disgusting in a jungle. But so she's got like her little top on, but she is wearing the stringiest black stringy underpants.
She is.
And she's like climbing rocks. And it looks like a Maxim photo shoot. And I'm like, I don't know. Are those the only underpants she could find that fit her?
Yeah. I remember that. I don't know. But I thought it was because he didn't have underwear. Yeah. I was like, well.
Yeah. But also, here's another thing I noticed. Of all of the men, Sawyer is constantly without a shirt and shoes. And the other person that we do see either with his shirt open or his shirt often is shirt off is Mr. Echo. Yeah. And I have a problem with that because I think they are trying to make a class statement about the fact that Jack is always wearing a shirt. He's not an animal. He wears
There's a
clothes,
full 3 episodes.
Okay? He's not a savage.
There's a full 3 episodes where Sawyer's not wearing a shirt and he doesn't have one on for a whole 3 episodes. I'm like, was this fan service or what?
And he's got no shoes.
What's going on?
I mean, look.
It's like Carl
I
in
don't
the dungeon.
mind. Right? Yeah, I know. Right?
Oh my God.
I mean, Josh Holloway is, nice to look at, and he was a model and everything. But it just dawned on me that, like, well, why the hell is Jack not walking around without his shirt? Like, I mean, Jack, and it occurred to me that they're saying something about
so let's segue that into harmful stereotypes and cultural missteps written into this show, because there's a lot. And before I start on this, I want everybody to know I love this show. I really do, because all the stuff I'm about to say is going to make it sound like I hate this show, and I don't. I really, really do like this show, and I think it's well done. But my God, there are some serious missteps here in the writing of this show. So we can start with Sawyer. The racist shit that comes out of his mouth is repugnant. Especially in that first season, they want to make him like the redneck. And he just says the most out-of-pocket stuff all the time. And it's like, ooh.
The nicknames are racist.
Fat-phobic, racist, awful, just terrible stuff all the time. Misogynistic.
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he's like a sexual predator, the comments that he makes and the nicknames that he's giving everybody, and he's disgusting.
They repeatedly wrote foreign men as violent. If you were a foreign dude in this show, you're violent. We have Thai men beating up Jack in that episode when he's in Thailand, which I hate. If you're in Africa, you're a warlord. African warlords. Mr. Echo's story is tragic and awful.
Yes,
I could spend an entire hour talking about Saeed and how they wrote him as an Iraqi torturer. I understand that this show was written in this Bush era, post 9/11 time, But the extreme Islamophobia that was written into Saeed and his character and his story is so gross, and it's so obvious when you watch it now. I am just really surprised that Naveen Andrews took this role. That's another cultural misstep. He's not even Arabic. He's just a brown man.
No, he's Indian.
And I'm like...
And he, and there's a flip side to this, because we're also going to mention that about Jin.
Jin as well. And Korean organized crime. Foreign men.
Korean organized crime, right? But when they're interviewed, and so... It's like my husband always reminds me, presentism, so when we look at it from 2025, we look at this and we're like, stereotype. We're like all these horrible things. When this show was being made and when it was cast, those actors have said that opportunities and roles like this did not exist for us, and that it was groundbreaking. Oh my God, I have Daniel Day Kim, right? Who plays Jin. He talks about how an Asian man has never been a lead character with a romance story, with character development.
On American TV, you mean? So. Yeah.
Yes, on American TV. Yeah. Like this role, these roles did not exist for him.
Yeah.
So from Naveen Andrews' perspective, he's like, okay, well, I'm getting this role because I want this role, and I'm brown and I can pretend to be an Iraqi. But again, he's another person who a substantial role on a prestige TV show did not exist.
Now,
for
what I
these
can say
people.
about Naveen,
and we forget how white TV was.
Naveen himself really portrayed this character beautifully. He brought Saeed's. He made such a beautiful character out of what was written for him. It would not have been with any other person, I think, maybe doing that character. He really did a great job at humanizing Saeed with what he had. It's just the way he was written. The storyline for him is so gross and is so Islamophobic. And it's what was this story written in 2002? I mean, it's like a year after 9/11. That's what it was. That's what the media was back then. That's what we were being fed on the daily. So I
think what the writer's intention may have been with Saeed was actually a good intention to show
he's a human being.
This is a man who was in the Iraqi Republican Guard. Okay, definitely on the other side of that war. But in this situation, we're stranded on a deserted island, and we have to come together, regardless of the fact, like when he has that conversation when Hurley's like, oh yeah, my buddy was in Iraq, he was in the first whatever airborne or whatever, and he's like, what were you in? And he's like, the Republican Guard, and the look on Hurley's face. But that scene is so cute because it's also like, okay, well, you're on the other side, but you seem to be a nice dude. So I think they were trying to do something positive. But when we look back on it from the world today, where representation is more common.
But what it is propaganda, though.
And that we don't write those stereotypes.
It's propaganda. We don't like these guys, and it's okay for us to be at war with them in this era. That's what it was. Yeah. And I don't give the writers any credit or not. I don't know. But they may not even realize they were doing that. I don't know. But it is propaganda, just plain and simple. It's gross. But I still love his character. I still love Saeed's character. He's one of the best characters.
I love Saeed's character.
I actually absolutely adore Mr. Echo's character. I really love that character.
I love Mr. Echo.
His backstory is so tragic. Again, stereotyping these African warlords. But he has, I think, in my opinion, he has the most tragic backstory, even though we have a lot of them. Because what they did to him, making him a child soldier, and him just constantly trying to get back to grace, if you want to put it that way. His whole life. I mean, his story's so tragic, and I just really thought he was a good addition to the island.
I think so, and I think it plays out, in terms of the the African warlord story, but it is also, I'm not a black person or a black man, so I'm talking out my ass right now. Everything I'm about to say, totally talking out my ass. Okay, but I think that it is also a good metaphor for the challenge of being a black man in America. Because, if you're not born into some kind of privileged situation, you know, so many, and even still today, so many young black men are having to make those choices between the gangs and between trying to improve your lot in life, but the gangs, you know, like, depending on where you live.
A lot of everybody in America
it's
today.
hard, you know, it's hard to, you know, to try to keep your soul and to get out of, you know, where you grew up in. And so but I love Mr. Echo. And then Jin.
Well, though, if you want to talk about that, if you want to talk about Mr. Echo and his story from Nigeria, and we're talking about black men in America, the way they wrote Michael then is quite different as well. He was also kind of a deadbeat dad. Yeah. I mean, they're really not doing themselves any favors with how they're writing these men.
An interesting point with Michael is he didn't want to be a deadbeat dad. It was forced upon him.
Though. Like, he was actually a deadbeat. Like, he was broke and didn't they wrote him that way.
There's 2 instances in this story where Claire's baby daddy is an artist. Okay, so basically they showed, do not have a child with an artist, because they say they will support you, but they cannot. Artists cannot support a person with a child. So Michael could have gone back to construction. But she tells him, no, you got to keep doing your art, baby. And I'm like, no. He needs to go get a fucking job. Like, art is not a fucking job. I'm sorry. It does not come with health benefits. It does not pay the bills. So, yeah, he's a deadbeat in that respect. But I feel like she almost pushed him in that direction. And I'm not a big fan of Walt's mom. Also not a big fan of his stepdad, Brian, who, against Walt's mom's wishes, he adopts him, and then after she dies, he's like, he's not my fucking kid.
I forgot that I wrote that in, because it's not in these notes. I forgot. I think I sent you a text about that. If you watch this show, every, like, back character that's not that important's name is Brian. There's multiple Brians written in it. Shannon's boyfriend that he goes to pick her up is also Brian. Like, there's multiple Brians.
Oh my God, really?
What is that about?
I did not realize that.
It's a strange little I don't know. I just noticed that. I was like, wait, why is there so many Brians?
Yeah,
how
somebody's
weird.
name was Brian. Yeah, but Jin is another one who...
Violent foreign men.
The violent foreign men, and also, like, this... It's incredibly mysterious Asian culture from Korea.
Yeah, they have a lot of Asian mysticism.
Like are all Korean men, like, making their wife button the top button? Like, her shirt's like this open, and he's like, da, 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 and she's like, and I'm like, I mean, he was so horrible to her, and she's wearing a sweater on a fucking tropical island. The whole time I'm looking at her, I'm like, I'm so sweaty.
I know.
I'm so sweaty just looking at her.
Now, to be fair, from somebody who has lived in East Asia, that is very true. Like, in the summertime, they are full long sleeved all the way up to here, like, all the time.
Is that to protect their skin, though?
All the time. I mean, and you look at them, you're like, oh my God, I'm so hot. Please put on a tank top. But no, they don't do that.
Well, yeah, and I know they also carry, you know, like, umbrellas and parasols, because we live, you know, I told you I'm like immigration. We are an immigration place here where I live, and and I see these people walking with the parasols, and I'm like, I'm an idiot.
I had so many parasols, like so many, from living over there,
and it totally makes sense. Yeah, so Jin is just, oh God, it's written like such an abusive relationship, but then my question is, he brings her a flower, so she's gonna leave him, right? This is the point. She's gonna get on this flight in Los Angeles, or no, in Sydney, and she's gonna fly to Los Angeles, and then but she's gonna run away from him at the airport, plan. Right? She was supposed to run away at the airport. Okay, but then he gives her.
He just holds it up. He's like, "Look what I got."
I know, and she's like, "I can't leave him," and I'm like, "Not 5 seconds ago, he was treating you like shit." How stupid are the women on this show sometimes?
They're very stupid on this show. A lot. I mean, like,
why did Claire believe that boy's art was going to be able to support them?
Oh, God. Well, that makes me so angry. She wanted to get rid of it. And he was like, no, let's keep it. And then left her. It makes me mad anyway.
I mean, this child is Aaron is forced upon Claire repeatedly. Because, so she doesn't want to have the baby, and he talks her into having the baby, and then he leaves her. So now she's like, well, I've got to give this baby up for adoption. And then the crazy psychic is like, no, you can't do that, blah, 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 blah. But then and I don't understand where the psychic comes into this, although did you notice that the psychic is the dad of the girl that died?
Yes.
That Mr. Echo ends up talking to, like I said, like the Echo before we started, it was like the Mr. Echo connections to everybody are really weird, because there is a connection between Echo and Claire.
There's a whole
and I could
bunch
probably
of connections.
do string,
like I have a whole section of character crossovers. And that one's not even in there, even though it was. But that one's not even in there.
It does happen.
There's so many character crossovers, and the thing is, I think there's probably tons more than what I have in here. If you watch it, that there's a million more. There's so many. Every time somebody goes to the hospital, Jack's hanging out in the back. If you don't pay attention, you don't even see him. He's there every time.
Yes. Yep. He's there when, what was he there for? Somebody came in. Yeah. Oh, and Nadia was at the hospital?
Nadia is everywhere. Now, if you don't notice that, Nadia is absolutely everywhere. We're talking about Nadia, who is Saeed's long lost love. She's everywhere. She is in England, and Charlie saves her from being mugged. She is got a house that Locke helps her with her water or something.
Locke is a home inspector. No, he's her home inspector, and she's buying the house. And he says, he asks her, I think when he gets there, when he's leaving, about her husband, and she says, "I'm not married." So that's how we find out that Nadia is still single. And in California, Nadia is everywhere. It's really
Jack's
freaky.
fault that Shannon's dad died, because he chose to save Sarah, his future wife, instead of Shannon's dad. He let him die on the table. Yeah, Shannon's dad and Sarah were the ones in the car accident, and so her dad died on the table.
Wait, that was Shannon's dad? Was the drunk driver?
That was how he died. That was how Shannon's dad died, and she ended up... And so it was because of that the stepmom cut her off, and all that happened with Shannon.
I didn't realize that Jack made that choice.
Met Desmond running the stairs, you know?
Oh, yeah, that one is...
Sawyer, one of Sawyer's many cons ruins Hurley's, accountant.
Which one was
one
Hurley's
in jail?
accountant?
His name was Munson.
This.
The one that he did that thing with in jail, and later on, Hurley's like, "Yeah, my accountant. His name's Munson." It's like, oh, that's just a callback to that. Like they were.
Oh my god! I didn't even realize
dad,
that.
Anthony Cooper, ends up being Sawyer's con man, who.
Which is so freaking bizarre.
Hurley and Libby.
We'll talk about that when we get to that.
Libby in the same mental institution.
Libby's everywhere. Libby's husband's
Desmond's
boat is
boat.
The boat. So she gives
sailboat.
Desmond the boat. Who the hell was Libby's husband? And why was Libby in the mental institution?
Right. I don't know.
And where was that in the timeline?
I don't know. Just with...
I tried when I was asking you about timelines, there isn't one that explains to me at what time in history was she in the mental institution with Hurley, and then at what time did she give Desmond the boat? Did she end up in the institution after she gave Desmond the boat?
It would have to be timeline-wise, because he was on that boat for a darn long while, and then he was on the island for a while.
And then he was on the island for 3 years before they got there.
And Saeed was made a torturer by Kelvin, who was in the hatch before.
Yes.
So this guy who was in the hatch and made Desmond come in and help him out, he was the one who made Saeed a torturer.
Yeah.
Christian Shepherd is everyone's dad.
He's just... Yes.
Everybody's dad is...
It might be mine.
Did you reckon Hurley bought Locke's box company?
Right. That one I always...
So many, just all of them. They're all connected before they even get to the island.
Wait a minute. At one point... Okay, so I just realized, is this in the Flash Sideways, or did this happen in the early seasons when we see... So Hurley has all the money, and Hurley doesn't want to have all the money. And he's meeting with his accountant, and the accountant is telling him, well, you actually have more money now, and the box company, and someone falls past the window.
Yes,
is that Locke?
It is.
Oh my god!
And Jacob's sitting outside. But that's later, so we don't...
That's later. Oh god! Don't even get me. I don't even know how we're going to do this conversation.
So one thing we haven't talked about, where we're talking about all the characters, is Walt.
Walt was a problem because the writers... Remember how TV shows are made? So this is also covered in the documentary and in a couple of the books that I've read. So when you film a pilot, it's a really long time before you go to season. And if you're going to put like a 10, 11-year-old boy in a role, you need to understand that in the span of 2 months, he could grow 3 inches and get a mustache. Like, it happens. That, the overnight, and I mean,
it's sad.
I feel bad for the kid. Because the plan was for him to be more integral to the story, but he shot up like a weed. And that doesn't work because they're supposed to be like a finite amount of time that they're on the island. And he would not have grown 3 inches from yesterday. They could have written that
into the storyline. This island's weird.
They could have been like, is it
time
just
could
me,
be,
or is
like, time
Walt
could be moving
really
differently
fast?
for Walt. They could have written that in because they made Walt.
Well, it's moving differently out in the ocean.
They made Walt so important, and they showed that he was so important. Like, he could kill things with his mind, or like
kills that bird.
They kept saying he's special, and they even had the others say he's special, and they wanted him. And then after they wrote him off, like, oh, we don't really need Walt. We don't have him for any reason. Yeah. Except he ends up coming back.
Oh, he shows up a lot.
And talking backwards to Shannon, and
but here's the thing. Okay, wait. So so dead people appear. I know that's in your notes. So dead people show up
on the island.
Okay, are the dead people the man in black?
Well, for serious, we're talking today about seasons 1 through 3, so we have no idea.
Right. We don't know. Now,
we do know. Yes, all dead people are the men in black. Every single one of them. But Walt's not
every
dead.
single one of them. What about Ben's mom? That's
Ben's
the
mom
next
is
episode.
the man in black.
That's
every single dead person is supposed to be the man. Actually, that's a good question because it should be people he's touched, I think, or seen with the smoke. I don't know.
I don't understand. And Ben's mom.
No, you're right.
Talk about
it is the man in black because when he does the smoke and he can see into their memories. That's what it is. That's how he pulled out, Christian Shepherd and Yemi from Echo.
And Echo's brother.
So it is people he's seen from their memories. So, but Walt wasn't dead, so he wasn't the men in black. So was he astral projecting from New York? Because at that time he's with his grandma in an apartment in New York. Was he dreaming?
And why does it look like he's drowning?
Wet and talking backwards. And all the people on the internet who wanted to do it back, what he was saying is, don't push the button is bad. But we know the button's not bad and it saves the world. So why?
Until it doesn't anymore.
Why did they write it like this?
Until they blow up the hatch and then there's nobody push. Right. So, but then the world didn't freaking end.
Because Desmond turned the key.
Well, why didn't they do that a long time ago? Why they sit there and push the fucking button? Sorry, I just made the camera rock. When you could have just made Desmond turn. Now, is Desmond the only person who can turn the key? Because he's Desmond.
He was the only one who could have done that without dying.
Because he's immune to electromagnetism.
Now, I can make an entire argument, a 3-hour-long argument about why Desmond is the main character of this show, but that's not why we're here today.
Sorry, I just need to change position.
He is the main character. By the end of it, I could make a whole argument. I could also make a whole argument why Hurley's the most important character in the show, but,
Well, absolutely, he becomes the protector of the island, which, of course, obviously, guys, we're never going to be able to stay in the first 3 seasons because we keep going. But yeah. And I mean, I think they want you to think, Jack is the main character.
I think so.
Right? He's your hero. He's your main male character. But
I don't think I've ever been surprised by anything on a television show on weekly TV as I was when they stole Walt off that boat. When those weirdos pulled up in that thing that they let the sonar ping and here they came and he said, we're here for the kid. And they pulled him off that boat and shot Sawyer and drove off and him screaming. Yeah. I still have chills. Like, I've never been surprised by anything on TV like I was by that.
I know there's a couple of moments on Lost where you're just like, what just happened? But then that starts off Michael annoying the crap out of me because if he says one more time, they took my boy.
Well, Michael's annoying from the start. He really is horribly annoying.
Yeah.
Just awful.
He really is. He really, really is. I mean, the issues between Jin and Michael are Michael's issues.
Yeah, they are. But Michael even says that, though, that where I'm from, like, racially, Korean people and black people have problems. Like, these are Michael's
But that's what he teaches. So he chooses to teach his
Who's
child.
like, what are you talking about?
He's he's like, why? He's like, why are you know? And he's like, well, where I come from, black people and Korean people don't get along. And Walt's like, well, that's stupid. And I'm like, yes.
And especially since,
and you know what? You didn't have to bring that here.
Especially since Jin is not from America. He's from Korea.
He's not a Korean from LA who is having issues with black people from LA. It was a weird choice.
But when we start off, we've been talking a lot about the island. So I think that's one of the biggest things that the main character of season 1 especially is the island. What the hell is this place?
Oh,
like, what is this weird place we've been brought to? There's dead people walking around all the time. There's whispers, which also don't make sense with Walt, because every time Walt shows up, like to Shannon, there's whispers, which we learn much later are dead people, so it wouldn't have been showing up when Walt came along, so that still doesn't make sense.
No.
There's polar bears wandering around. And sharks.
Yes, that's pretty funny.
Sharks with tattoos.
The polar bear is, first of all, the polar bear was the moment where, even the first time around, I was like, Sawyer's a hero. First of all, it's shocking, because they're like, was that a bear? And they're like, it's a and then I think it's Charlie who says, what the hell is a polar bear doing in the middle of the jungle? But everybody's like running, screaming. Sawyer turns around, faces it. He doesn't know what's coming at him, but he stares it down and shoots it. Now, he screws up later because why he didn't shoot the marshal in the head? It's like I tried to shoot him in the heart, and instead he gut shot him, which is like the most horrible way to die. So then Jack has to kill the marshal.
But speaking of Walt, I think that they
stupid.
were writing it that we were supposed to intuit that Walt brought the polar bear to the island because he was reading that comic, but then that didn't work out, so they had to retcon it that they were Dharma bears because they had the bear cages.
Maybe.
So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because he was reading about
he found
bears.
Hurley's Spanish comic book and was reading, there was a polar bear on this island, and so then there was a polar bear on the island, and I think we were supposed to think Walt did that, and then later on, oh no, it was just a Dharma bear.
Okay.
And then there's food being dropped. Dharma food. Who's dropping the food? Why?
And why did they keep dropping the food?
Better question is, why did they keep manufacturing Dharma food? Who's manufacturing it back on the mainland? Where are they sending it from? Why aren't they checking on these people?
Is the contract just paid in... right. If they're... Why did they not realize... So again, we're out of this seasonal... we're out of season 3.
Well, no, this is in season 3.
But...
This is between 1 and 3.
That they're dropping the food. But so
yeah,
Ben,
this happens in 1 to 3. This is fine to talk about.
So I can.
No, it happens.
So Ben and Richard and the others kill everybody in the Dharma Initiative, including Ben's parents.
1992.
When they lost contact
it's been 12 years.
with the island. Why did the Dharma Initiative people keep sending
the
food?
Dharma Initiative doesn't check on their employees, doesn't check on the people there, doesn't know what's going on, and they just keep sending these food drops, which is, okay, so something's set on like auto ship. All right, but why are they still manufacturing Dharma Cheez-Its and stuff is what I don't get. Like, why is the Dharma Initiative still a thing if it's not on the island?
Was there some sort of off-island takeover of the Dharma Initiative that we're not aware of?
Weird.
Because that doesn't make any sense. What they did was they just needed, when they did the Dharma drop, they were like, okay, these people aren't going to be able to live on fish and fruit. But the truth is, those people could have lived very well on fish and fruit.
They had some pigs and
they had boars. And then there was a cow out there somewhere.
He had cows.
Yeah, so, cow for milk. I mean, like...
One thing that bothers me, and please correct me, you guys, if I'm wrong, it's just so funny to me, especially when we start showing the Dharma houses, they always have these nice little bunches of bananas. And I'm like, number one, no matter when the food drops or the subs are coming in, bananas don't survive that, okay? So you're not bringing bananas from the mainland. Yeah. But we never see bananas on the... We know there's fruit, there's mangoes, papayas, but there's never bananas on this.
There's never a banana tree.
So where are they getting these perfect little Chiquita bananas? They have these perfect little yellow dole banana. And if you've ever seen like a wild banana, they don't quite look like that. Yeah, they just bug me. I'm like, where are these bananas coming from?
No. And they would be small if they weren't raised. Yeah, because the bananas that we're eating are engineered.
But they all have this perfect little bunch of dole bananas sitting on their couch. Yeah, on bananas on the couch.
Yeah,
on their
bananas. You know how you keep your bananas on the couch? That's how you keep them fresh. Pro tip from Liza: keep your bananas on the couch.
So
yeah, it's a little bit. So yeah, like that. The food. Okay, the hatch.
The hatches. That's also part of the weird island phenomena to me, because why we learned that these hatches were from the Dharma Initiative, right? And there's a whole bunch of them. Mm-hmm. And we also learn in these 3 seasons that the Dharma Initiative got murdered by Ben, and now it's with Richard and the others. But they knew about these hatches, and they knew that these hatches were globally important. Like, if you didn't push this button to release this electromagnetic energy, the world was going to implode or some such thing.
Right.
But they let a crazy man who doesn't know what's going on just be the one to push the button, and they don't ever tell him what's going on. They just left him down there.
No, they just left Desmond
And they left
there.
all the other hatches just not occupied. Like the one with all the prenatal equipment.
Except the one that Mikhail lives at.
So all these others that are like important to the fate of the world, they just left up to mentally unstable, individuals who weren't trained. That doesn't make sense at all.
I mean, what was the point of the Dharma?
What? That's a whole. I don't know.
Was it all about harnessing? Because Dr. What's his face? Miles'
He's got a bunch of different names in these videos. There's a different name in every video.
Because he uses, he
now we are getting into season 4.
His Americanized name. Yeah, he uses his Americanized name when he's filming those videws.
Each video he's got a different name though.
He's got a different name. Yeah. So he says about when the guy's brain starts to liquefy and the drill bits melt as they're starting to build the hatch. And the guy's like, you want us to blast through it? And he's like, no, we're trying to harness the most powerful energy. And so he seems to indicate that they're going to harness that for like limitless energy.
That's getting way into season like 4, 5, and 6, right?
Yeah, but if that was, sorry everybody, I hit the camera again. If it was the purpose of the Dharma Initiative to find new forms of energy,
right?
What was all the other stuff?
I think it was just experimentation. Like the Dharma Initiative was just scientists, and they had this place to experiment on lots of things, and maybe the islands where nobody on these things. Like, how does this little space affect all these things? I don't know. It's not explained well. They're like hippies in a commune, but also they have
they live like
polar
hippies
bears
in a commune.
And weird things and kids.
And they have rules. They know that the others live on the island,
hostels.
And they know what the others are, the hostels. Right? And they've built the electro fence to keep the hostels out, but it also keeps out the black smoke.
Which we don't know what it is. We find out, right? These 3 seasons, we do not know what it is for these 3 seasons.
We still don't know what it is. No. Yeah.
All we know is that it I don't know if anybody's ever noticed this. It clicks and pops and makes lots of weird electronic noises. But I watched this show during the summer, and my cicadas were so loud outside the door. And when the smoke monster would come, it is cicadas. It's a cicada noise. Like, I'm like, it is. Oh my God, do I have a smoke monster outside? What is going on?
Yeah, chittering. The chittering
insect
sound.
Noises.
Because humans are very freaked out by chittering. And it also it growls like a tiger. It has a tiger growl
and electric
in it as well.
Pops and stuff. It's very strange.
Yeah, and it's an interesting
sound. But
why
can't it come on the beach? Yeah. It pushes up against that beach the way that fog does in the Hunger Games, catching fire. Like,
because Jacob.
Why can't he go to the beach?
Rules. There are rules.
Like, they run on the beach, and
he can't go to the beach.
The smoke's like, well, you got me.
Nope, sorry, I can't leave the beach. My bad. Yeah, I don't get that.
We got
oh, you know what? We didn't talk yet. It was speaking of the island and weirdness on the island. The island heals people, but not everybody. It does not heal all of the women who get pregnant on the island and die.
I think it's the opposite. I think it makes them die. Right.
It makes that happen, and I'm wondering if that's like a time anomaly problem. I always try to figure it out. I'm never really sure.
But it's not all the women. It's just the others. It's the hostels, because Dharma women were having babies. That's how Miles was born. That's how Ethan was born.
Dharma women weren't having babies because, maybe they were because.
No, Dharma women were having babies. Miles was born on the island. Ethan was born on the island. So Dharma women were having babies. It's not until Ben kills them all, and then the others and the hostels move in. Those women can't have babies.
But Wait, isn't Horace's wife pregnant?
Amy.
And he says she starts to go into...
Horace's wife, Amy,
she starts to go into labor.
That's baby Ethan.
That's baby Ethan. But so they say that the women go off the island. They go off the island in the sub to have the babies.
I don't know. But wasn't Miles born on the island though?
So, but she successfully, we don't know where we don't know if Miles was born on or off the island. I mean, he was on the island. Was he born on it?
His dad has to go like when he's born. Like, oh, he had a boy.
Oh, okay. It's weird. Anyway,
so this is an others thing.
It heals some people, but it hurts other people, and not other people. But why does the island turn on Ben? And did it turn on Ben by giving him cancer? Right. Gives him a great big tumor that is, inoperable unless Jack Shepherd happens to crash on your island, and that's why
he always thought he did the right thing.
That's why Ben says,
he kept thinking,
well, I believe in this island because I develop an inoperable spinal cord tumor and an amazing spinal surgeon drops out of the sky in a plane crash. Like, how could you not believe in this island? But then he gets an infection.
So it heals Locke. It heals Rose of her cancer. Mm-hmm. It heals... Wait, where's all my people that it healed? It heals Naomi. Naomi is the person, if you guys don't remember, who fell out of the helicopter. Who was Widmore's helicopter. Now, this woman gets a punctured lung with a dirty tree branch poking in her lung. The next day, she is up hiking through the jungle. This just kills me. Yes, absolutely just kills me.
And because Mikhail said, when Mikhail shows up to help her, field medic, and then he says the island will take care of the rest. But then later on, also not in these 3 seasons, Jack has appendicitis. How I don't understand. Where did his appendicitis come from?
And Boone also. I mean, if the island's healing people, let Boone just get healed then. He doesn't get healed.
Just leave Boone there. He should go. Also, the reason that Boone dies, aside from the falling, right? The falling, with the plane falling kind of on you, is when that happens, instead of Locke going to get help, he decides to take a person who has been crushed and firemen carry him through the jungle. You do not move somebody in that situation. Oh, God. I'm like, and I always say, like, Locke's the one who actually killed him 2 times over. First, because of the plane and that whole thing. And second of all, because the firemen carry through the jungle killed him. Any broke, like, he punctured lung. Well, maybe his lung wasn't punctured by his rib until you hung him over your body and made his lung go.
Also, though, that whole scene with Boone and Son, like, oh, this little sea urchin Quill is gonna be a perfect hypodermic to do a blood transfusion through a dirty tube.
Can we talk about the stupidity? Okay, this is racism as well. Son is Asian. So she knows all the homeopathic remedies and how to garden, despite the fact that Son was a mafia princess, essentially, in Korea. Son's mother does not look like she has gardened, dug a hole and planted a seed in her life, let alone taught her daughter the uses of medicinal herbs. But all Asian women know this. Because that is so stupid with the eucalyptus and then the sea urchin. And now, since we're talking about this and we're talking about Son, we need to talk about the big problem with Son. What is the glaring problem with Son? She won't tell anybody
she speaks English?
Even though her husband is getting the shit beat out of him. The amount of times that she could have kept Michael and Jin from beating the shit out of each other, or someone else beating the shit out of her husband because she didn't want anybody to know she spoke English. She didn't want Jin to find out that she spoke English.
Like, the whole thing is so strange.
I'm like, girl, at this point, in this situation, I mean, from the minute they crashed, she needed to reveal that because they don't know what's going on.
But also, wouldn't it make sense that someone with her background might speak some English? Do you know what I'm saying? You just, like, her father is incredibly wealthy. And so jet setting, it's so
international businessman.
She could have picked up some English. Like, this isn't outlandish for her to to think that I might speak some English.
She could have, if she wanted to continue a lie, she could have said she's picking up some words, but no. So, and then she wonders like why Jin's mad at her. It's not just that you lied to him, that you would. How many days before she tells them that she speaks English? How many beatings? How many misunderstandings that could have been stopped if she just spoke English?
It's a lot.
And then Jin manages to learn to speak very competent English in about a week.
Somewhere around there.
Because this was one of the reasons why I asked her. I was like, how long were they on the island? They were on the island for 108 days. Okay, his English is so good by the end of that 108 days that he can make himself understood in very complex situations. Yes. I took French for 7 years. I could not talk about how to defuse a bomb with someone.
Exactly. It's learning a language, especially English, and especially the way he was learning it, which was through common speak and slang with Michael and Hurley. He would have had no idea what was going on. Michael, Hurley, and Sawyer taught him English. I'm sorry. No, they did not. Absolutely not.
It was believable for him to say things like, no, that dress does not make you look fat. I love that whole scene. That's one of my favorite episodes.
Mine too. That's my favorite episode.
But he doesn't even know what he's saying. Sawyer's just teaching him funny things to say. And then all of a sudden he's like, so good. But that's and I think if I recall correctly, Daniel Dae Kim did not actually speak Korean. And had to learn how to speak Korean.
That's bonkers. Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure that is.
Oh my God.
I'm pretty sure. Let me ask my friend.
So what did you find out about Jin?
So it turns out that Daniel Dae Kim, although he was born in South Korea, was not fluent in Korean, and he needed to work with a dialect coach in order to play and do Jin's lines, which is amazing.
Yeah, he did a good job.
One thing that has no place in any of our notes, but it's written here, I've got sexism, why do they wear bras, and Scott Steve.
Scott
Steve joke and the continuing gag about how everybody always gets it wrong, and Hurley is the only one who ever knew which one was Scott and which one was
that's Steve. Yeah, constantly. Dude, that's
And then
that's
he's like,
Scott.
Dude, Scott's dead.
Well,
Dude,
that's
Scott.
actually
Steve's
a really good that's a really good segue, Melissa, because one thing we don't have, we have these like 8 main characters basically. There's a few others, but there's 42 people who survived that front end. 40 plus the tailies. 42 people. What the hell's going on with all these other people? Presumably everybody's not Jack, so what's going on? And I think so many fans were like, "Hey, what's going on with all these other people?" So they introduced Nikki and Paolo to help the other fans go, yeah, these people have been here all the time. Well, fans hated Nikki and Paolo so much that they killed them. And they killed them in the worst, most horrific way possible.
Yeah, Nikki and Paolo, we don't hear from them at all. And then about 2 or 3 episodes before the Nikki and Paolo episode, all of a sudden when they're in the kitchen.
2 people. Yeah.
They're just in the kitchen and eating, and like Paolo has a line, and it's like, so I want to talk about the Nikki and Paolo episode because I have so much to tell you.
Oh, so much about that stupid episode. But I think this is one of the things you and I have talked about how fans can influence writers. They really did hear the fans saying, well, what about all these other people? And they brought in Nikki and Paolo. And then the fans were like, well, we hate these guys that you brought in.
Stupidest.
But it is the craziest episode, is it not? Like the episode itself, now you said they didn't, but it seems like they reshot everything because they reshowed all the pilot scenes with now Nikki and Paolo in. They reshowed all the background scenes that have gone on with Nikki and Paolo in them. But you said no, they use old footage and some green screens and stuff. So, it looks amazing.
And the way they made it look amazing is, so like when you shoot something like the pilot of actually when you shoot any TV show, there are multiple angles being shot, and the actors and this is something that I think about a lot and I've mentioned in my own notes to myself, like to think that somebody had to perform that scene at least 3 times because you actually perform your scene over and over and over again while they move the cameras around.
Yes.
Okay. So that's how they get all of the angles. And if you're ever wondering, like, oh yeah, and then they're over here, and then they're over here, how'd they do that? It's because that poor actor had to do the same fucking scene 5 times.
Yeah,
okay?
at least.
So they have tons of extra footage from the pilot, from all the episodes.
Sure.
So they did it with green screen so well. So even when they made them interact with people.
And in this episode, the funniest thing to me is what we learn is that these 2 horrible people, because they are both horrible people, have known everything that was going on the island the whole time. Everything that we learn bit by bit, Nikki and Paolo have already known it. All of it. All the little secrets. They knew about that hatch under Yemi's plane before anybody else did. They knew about everything.
Ow. How did the diamonds get into the toilet tank?
Oh, don't you remember he went in there when they went down with them? He goes in there to
take them out.
No, he went in and put them in there. He went and put them in the toilet tank. It shows him later on putting them in the toilet tank. That's how he hid them.
And then she went back for them?
I think, I don't know who got them out. I don't remember. I have to go watch that stupid episode again, and I don't want to. But that he put them in the toilet tank. That's what he's like, oh, sorry, I had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I thought he was taking them. No, I thought he took them out of the toilet tank then.
I don't remember.
And shoves them in his pants.
But they already knew that hatch was there.
That's what I don't understand. He knew that there was a toilet with a toilet tank in there. Like,
yeah, they'd already found all that, And it wasn't only that, it was everything else. Like, they knew everything else as well. They'd already learned so much that the others just had to learn. And they just didn't tell anybody anything. But they did die in a horrible way that nobody deserves. It was just awful. And
it was awful. It was awful. And I love it later on when Miles finds them and and he tells them those people were buried alive over there.
Nikki and Paolo got diamonds.
But nobody goes, wait. Shit, they were alive?
Oh my God. By that time, they didn't care about Nikki and Paolo, just like the rest of us.
At that point, we're like, Jesus Christ, we're back on this friggin' island.
Oh my God, it was so fun. I don't know, that whole episode was crazy. And there was also something else about the show, right? She was on this show, and they had the
yeah, Billy D. Williams has a cameo on Lost. Yes,
yeah, they had the script and all that stuff. Yeah, and so I don't know.
And she makes a comment because she's not coming back for the next season, and she makes a comment to the producer something about, well, what happens to guest stars,
right? Yeah,
and I'm like, oh my God, that was great.
But the island didn't heal them either.
It doesn't always heal everybody.
We did skip over that. The island heals Mikhail from dying at least 2 times.
I don't know that he was all the way dead.
Mikhail, he was just dead.
He just got shot
dead. He blows up dead.
When he gets shot by the harpoon and then effing comes back, he swims.
Yes. He's harpooned, dead. The sonar fence, he's just dead.
Dead.
I mean, and then he comes back, and then they don't say this, but you remember when Hurley sees the Jacob's cabin for the first time, and that eyeball comes? That's Mikhail's eyeball. Why? I don't understand. I wasn't the only one who thought that. You can look it up. So strange. Mikhail's a weird character.
I have questions about the cabin.
Yes, me too. What's the point of that cabin?
What happened? When Ben took Locke to that cabin, I assumed. So here's what I assumed when I'm watching: that Ben was pretending to talk to Jacob, right?
Right. He says he'd never seen him.
He was pretending. Okay.
Yep.
But then something happens in there.
Yeah.
Poltergeist activity takes place.
Right.
What the heck was that?
Yeah, but we learn, right, that Ben has never seen Jacob.
Yeah.
Jacob didn't like Ben. Poor Ben. I really feel sorry for Ben Linus. I'm sorry. I do.
Ben could
He's a horrible person. Just absolutely horrible, but I feel sorry for him.
But that's not his fault. And I think we will talk about Ben. Now, we're going to talk about Ben in
later,
the next episode.
Right? Yeah.
And we're going to talk about why I'm arguing that it's not Ben's fault.
Right. I mean, the funniest thing to me is now that I've been watching Lost, I get tons of Lost on TikTok. It just knows what you're doing, so I get tons of Lost on TikTok. People make Ben Linus thirst trap edits. Like, there's so many, and I'm like, what's going on?
If you like, if you like nerdy cute guys, and I have to say, he as an actor, but absolutely everybody on this show who has a main role on this show. There's a couple of people that I would say were not the best actors. Michelle, who played Ana Lucia, was very one note. Like I don't think she had the chops to go up against some of these people. It just didn't look like it. Didn't look like it. But anyway, these people are incredible, incredible actors. Even Evangeline Lilly, who doesn't, and I feel bad because in her career now, she hasn't really gotten any roles. Yeah. Where she got to take, because she had not really acted before Lost. Right. And she obviously is a naturally gifted actor. And then she got to act alongside some veterans. Who and she learned, and with an amazing directors with great writing. And she's actually so good. I can't stand her character. Right. But Evangeline Lilly plays the shit out of her emotionally. Emotionally, she does some great stuff. But also, the guy who plays Ben, there's the scene where...
So good at it.
They're in the hatch, right? Yeah. So they're in the hatch.
When he's Henry Gale.
When he's Henry Gale, and he's all broken. And he's broken, right? And he's talking to Saeed. And then when Saeed says to him, we went where we dug up. And he's like, that's where I buried my wife. He's doing the best acting job that he can, Ben-wise, right? And then Saeed's like, and then I dug up Henry Gale. And this is his driver's license, and it's a black dude, right? In that moment, the actor that is playing Ben does this amazing transition with his eyeballs.
Yes.
The first thing that changes in him is his eyeballs. I rewound it to watch it again. It's one of my favorite moments, because before he he uncoils himself, before he does that, his eyes go dead.
But one of the best lines in the entire show, and I don't know which season it's in, but one of the best lines in the whole show is Charles Widmore talking to Ben. He says, "Stop looking at me with your horrible eyes," because that is exactly what Ben. It's like, oh my God, he just exudes evil as that character. He's so manipulative.
Oh my God, I was literally about to say he's so manipulative. It was coming.
Which is bad because John Locke's character is so easily manipulated.
All you ever need to say to John Locke is "you're special," and that,
or "you can't."
Well, but he, this is a man who ends up in a cult, and now I understand, and I think this is why. So when trying to pick the most tragic character, sometimes it's Locke, sometimes it's Ben. There's a lot of different people that you could say. Echo, but whatever. But John Locke has throughout his life has been trying to be special, because we find out, and I don't think this was in seasons 1 through 3. It's horrible when you watch them this fast. You have no idea where you are. But we find out that his mom was a teenage mom, and her parents are like, "You're so not keeping this kid," and she never even gets to. And then he ends up, in an orphanage / foster home, and nobody wants him, and everything. So he's never special. So anytime John Locke is told he's special, and it happens over and over and over again, that's how you get him. That's how they got him to join a cult. That's how Ben got him. That's how Richard got him. It happens over and over again. That's how his father got him to give him a kidney. The level of manipulation that has happened to John Locke, and the fact that he's still falling for it. He's on this island after he's been pushed out a window by his dad, who stole his fucking kidney, and his mom, by the way, was in on the whole stealing the fucking kidney thing. This man will still trust anyone who tells him he's special.
I know, and so many people, Locke is their favorite character, and boy, do I understand it. He is an amazing character on this show. Yeah. The way, he really truly is just this kind of outdoorsman, and he knows so much, and he helps so much. They would have starved to begin with if it weren't for Locke. Like, he does so much, and he's just a cool character, and people just really love him. But the way that he lets people just string him in different directions is so sad. Like, it's just, every time he does it, you're like, oh, come on. Because you feel like throughout these seasons, especially with all that they're going through, he should grow a little. And you're like, oh, for God's sake,
he never does.
Never, he really doesn't. All the way up through his death, he does not. Ever.
Still, I mean, Ben... Yeah, we'll get there. Because I think in that last, that scene, I think Ben again tells him he's special right before he kills him.
That's how. Yeah.
But so the other, oh wait, it just went out of my head. Oh, the way everybody manipulates Locke by setting it up that everybody thinks Jack is the leader. Yeah. Because multiple people do that to Locke.
Yeah, that's
like,
how Ben.
Sawyer does it. Ben does it. I think Ana Lucia pulls it.
Probably.
Because Ana Lucia and Jack are starting an army at one point, and then Sawyer is like, if everybody knows that you either tell John Locke he's special, or you tell him that people think that Jack is a leader.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing I find interesting about John Locke. At home, off the island, he's a very sad, almost helpless human being.
Right.
But he gets to the island, and he's, Chuck Norris or whatever. I mean, he's
Crocodile Dundee kind of.
Yes. How?
I don't know, because it seems like it was, if you remember, it was, again, we see this later. Oh, what is his name? Oh, for God's sake, I lost his name. The amazing black man, and he's passed away now. That actor has.
The guy who plays Matthew Abaddon.
That's what it is.
Yes.
He's the one who tells him he should go on a walkabout. So at this point, John is literally, he's just pathetic. He's just pathetic in his life, and he is sad and lonely and pathetic, and he's in this wheelchair, and this man says you should go on a walkabout.
His physical therapist, basically.
Yeah,
That's
and he went and did that. And he couldn't go, but somehow when he gets out of the wheelchair, he's just trained. He's trained to throw knives. He's trained to skin a boar. He's trained to hike through this long jungle. None of that makes a lot of sense.
He knows all that stuff. Like, he even says, like, he's sitting there and he's like, it's gonna rain. And they're like, no, there's not a cloud in the sky. And then it rains.
And he would say, like, my dad took me hunting. So what, your dad took you hunting? That does not make you a hunting expert.
But his dad didn't take him hunting. His dad took him to shoot
on some
birds one day. One day!
They went on a couple of bird shooting trips, and that's it. That doesn't make you this amazing outdoorsman. I don't know.
I'm very confused. I don't know if the island bestowed upon him a bunch of skills. I always wonder that, because off the island, before he became a paraplegic, he was not any of those things.
No, pathetic in every sense of the word.
Pathetic person. Claire. Oh, okay. So Claire's pregnant, and she should never have been flying, but whatever.
Right?
So she has the baby. And just full disclosure, Liza and I had a very lengthy text discussion about this yesterday. We never once see her nurse the baby, and you could say, like, well, on TV, they, boob, whatever, okay? Then Claire's gone, and that baby lives.
Yeah.
That baby would have dehydrated, like you said. Sawyer's walking around for hours in the jungle with the baby.
Yeah, so if you guys don't remember, they had split up at this point, and a lot of people had gone with Locke over to Dharmaville, and some people had gone with Jack, hoping to get rescued, and Clara goes with Locke, but they end up, none of that happens. And so she lays baby Aaron on a stump because the ghost of her father, who she didn't even know, had come back, and then Claire's just gone. And at this point, he's only 5 weeks old. Yeah. Sawyer picks him up. He's totally chill. He's fine. He walks with him through the jungle. And I don't think people realize that the jungle is as big as it is because we just get places and scenes. Yeah. But they say it takes them hours to hike through. So he's been hiking for hours with this baby who hasn't eaten in 8 hours now. Baby's just fine. Then gives it to Son. Baby's fine. Gives it to Kate. Baby's totally cool. He has not eaten.
Baby's on the freighter, still not eaten. Baby's on Penny's boat for a while.
Right. And why would Penny's boat just have baby formula? Like,
that's the only place I could say, well, I don't know.
Why would they have
Maybe they happen to have baby formula. But that baby would have died. Dehydration happens so quickly in infants. Yeah. And the smaller they are, the faster it happens, and you can't give them water because you'll kill them.
Yeah.
So how the F did that baby stay alive? That was just, it's one of those
things. And not only alive, but he never made a peep. Like, he never cried.
Yeah.
He was totally
only when
cool.
they need him to for the plot.
Right.
And then the whole thing about Claire, this is what I don't understand. Why didn't they show us the scene in the middle of the night where Christian shows up and convinces Claire to come with him? Because we don't see that. They all go to sleep. They wake up in the morning, and then there's Sawyer. You know, he grabs the. He's standing in the jungle. It's a beautifully shot scene because they do like an overhead crane shot of him spinning around in the jungle, yelling for her. And I'm like, what the heck did the man in black do to Claire in the middle of the night? Because she goes from feral,
overprotective,
which I don't think she's overprotective. She gave birth to a child on a deserted island with the smoke monster and polar bears. I would never let the kid go. And the amount of time she turns her back on
and like, I mean, she's overprotective of this baby. She leaves him on a stump and walks off in the middle of the night. But we know in future episodes that she wanted him back. Like, so how did he convince her to go when she's been like that all this time? And again, she was nursing. This is painful and uncomfortable. You can't just leave and be fine. She would have had mastitis. She would have been very uncomfortable if she had done that. And so I don't understand that whole scene. And then when Kate and son, they have the baby and they're in a horrific helicopter crash with Kate just holding on to him like, I guess we'll be okay, and let's hold on tight. And she's got, got this vest on, but the baby's not in the vest. She's just got him. And that helicopter slams as hard as it can into the water,
breaks
upside down. And she just swims up, and the baby, again, baby's fine. Baby's cool.
And none of them, except for only Desmond is unconscious. Everybody else comes out of that helicopter crash like just a little bedraggled, and the baby's fine.
Yeah, that baby's been through a lot.
Could we talk a little bit about the weirdness of the love triangle? Because so when they the tailies finally get back, and they're all sort of,
it ends up more than a love triangle, doesn't it? It ends up like everybody likes everybody, but we don't know who we really like, and we don't want to make this person mad over here.
But so Sawyer is, he's all feverish and infected because he got shot and went in the ocean and then walked through the jungle and then got thrown in a ditch cage and then, so he's, and thankfully Jack has antibiotics.
Yeah.
But she's over there acting like this is the love of her life. And she, won't leave his side and stuff. And then he tells Jack when he's sort of half delusional or delirious or whatever that he loves her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but we think that. He doesn't say, I love Kate. He just said, I love her. And we're like, what are you talking about?
Cassidy.
I mean, he could have been talking about anything.
I don't know. I think he's talking about her. But, so it's in the episode when we find out what Kate did, which I think the episode is called What Kate Did, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
Or something like that. I don't know. So anyway, he kind of comes up out of his unconsciousness and begins to choke Kate. And then he says, what does he say? Why did you kill me?
Mm-hmm. Because he's supposed to be like her dad, right?
Is that supposed to be her dad?
Supposedly channeling her dad.
I mean, why?
Again, I don't know.
I don't know, man. That scene.
I don't know. But anybody, they have Kate with Jack and with Sawyer, and nobody can decide. But then also they had set it up so Ana Lucia met Jack at the airport, and they had a little moment. So when they meet each other again, it's like, oh, it's you. Well, maybe I like you now. Maybe you're the one. And then here comes Juliet, and Jack's like, oh, we got another beautiful, competent woman. Maybe I like you now.
Yeah.
And Sawyer's like, well, I like all three of them.
Yes, and also I'm gonna do all three of them, by the way. FYI. I like how he felt bad. Like Sawyer has this moment where he's like, he's like, I screwed her.
Yeah, I know.
And Jack's like, what? And he's like,
why are you telling me that, man? Like, Jack himself is like, I don't need to know this.
Didn't need it. And I think, Sawyer was like, I just had sex with that woman like hours ago, and now she's dead. That's wow, that's weird.
Yeah.
On this island, not weird.
Not that
not
weird
at all. And if she were to jump back up and start running around, that wouldn't be weird.
Also
on this
not
island
weird,
either.
right? Correct.
Not at all.
Right.
Not at all.
We've kind of skipped over this, and I feel like it's an elephant in the room, Melissa.
Oh.
Do we want to talk about Boone and Shannon's sibling sex problems? I don't really want to talk about it, but I feel like we need to address it.
I think it was unnecessary.
It was so unnecessary
for them to sleep together the night before they got on the plane. I mean, I understand. Look, they're not blood relatives, but like,
I don't care.
I've had step siblings at different points in my life, and that would not have been appropriate behavior.
And they weren't like step siblings, like they met when they were older. They grew up together, Christmases together, and they were kids. They were siblings. And that's just disgusting. I was like, oh my, I forgot that episode happened. And when it happened, I was like, oh, what's going on? Yuck.
That episode gives us Shannon's backstory about how she ended up being disinherited essentially by her stepmom, who is Boone's biological mom.
Right.
And so that's trying to explain how she became this girl that latches on to men to get money or power. Although she doesn't pick great men, because the guy that she hooked up with in Australia, that was the reason that Boone was down there, Brian, he was a dirtbag.
He
wasn't even. I mean, she's got these other people. She's like, oh, I spent like, you know how to sail? Oh, I dated a guy who had a yacht, and
taught me French,
you know how to speak French? Oh, I dated this guy whose kid watched this show over and over again. But when we see her in Australia, I'm like, is she losing her touch? And that's why she's with Brian, because Brian seems low rent.
Yeah.
But I asked the internet.
Okay.
About Shannon and Saeed, because an unlikely thing happens. Oops, I just made the camera shake. Sorry. An unlikely thing happens between Shannon and Saeed in that they fall in love. Okay.
I think you and I have differing opinions on it too.
Okay. So my question was, did Shannon really love Saeed, or was it because Boone was now spending all of his time with Locke, and she doesn't realize it, but trying to get into the hatch? And so she needs someone else to take care of her. And so she starts flirting with Saeed in the course of trying to decipher the French woman's, and we have to talk about Danielle too, the French woman's thing. And somebody commented, pretty girl sings to Saeed in French and he falls in love. Because that's what happens. I mean, there is like no, I don't see that developing.
Couple thoughts.
Okay.
Well, I do though. I think that the way the writers wrote it because it's over a course of several episodes, right? That they kind of fall in. I think the way the writers wrote it at the beginning, yes. That's what we're supposed to think. Obviously, she's now latched on to this other dude. Boone even tells him that, hey, she does this. Hey, be careful. She always latches on to the guy who she thinks can give her the most, whatever. Yeah. So I do think we're supposed to think that. And maybe even that is what is going on. But I think that Saeed is the first person who's ever believed in her. Like, he tells her, he's like, you can do this. You're not worthless. You're not all these things people have told you that they are. And I do think that by the end, she has started to warm to Saeed, to change. And by the time, it's just the two of them spending time together, because he's the first person who has, believed that she could be more than just a stupid party girl, that, she kind of falls for him.
Okay.
I think
you've
so.
Convinced me.
But I think it's both.
But the internet disagrees.
I just think it's both.
The internet does not think she ever loved him.
I do. But my issue is, and again, we'll get into it next week, my issue is, by the end of all this, the person that he sees at the end of it is Shannon, not the love of his life, Nadia. I'm like, what the hell are we talking about?
We're going to talk
girl
so much
that you were
about
with for a few days.
Who is and who is not in the church at the end, and what that signifies is.
So so he sees Shannon at the end, and I do think he loved her, and I do think that she was starting to warm to him, or at the very least she had some character growth, maybe.
She a little.
So maybe we could talk about for a bit one of the main things that goes on in Lost. to its detriment sometimes, are flashbacks. Whether you love them or you hate them, it's flashbacks. So we learn a lot about backstories. There was a lot of those flashbacks that I kind of skipped through because they bored me to tears. I didn't even like them. I can't stand the flashbacks. There were some.
I love them.
Some people's flashbacks I love.
Yeah.
Jack's flashbacks he's so irritating.
Oh,
Jack is just so damned irritating. His flashback episodes, I'm like, fast forward. I just want to talk about like unhinged flashbacks. Like, were there some unnecessary ones or ones that made you be like, I don't like this one? Which one?
Monica. So Kate at one point became a girl named Monica who
Poor
is
Nathan
like
Fillion.
a corn-fed, sweet Midwestern girl who is going to marry a cop played by Nathan Fillion. And I mean, he loves her. And despite the fact that this girl does not appear to have any family, which it seems like the kind of people he's from, the not having family would be weird. Like, where are your people? Mm-hmm. And like to the point where like his mom on their wedding day, she gives her some piece of jewelry, something, and she's like, my mom gave this to me. All of the women in our family have worn this. I didn't have a daughter, so I'm giving it to you. So she talks to him on the phone, and she's like, you're gonna be home for dinner because it's taco night. I keep saying taco night for a reason. For some reason, we find out that Kate has been in touch with the marshal, the guy who died on the island.
Yeah.
The
one who's chasing her.
The one who's been chasing her forever. Yeah. So she goes to the payphone. She brought her egg timer from home. She sets it for 1 minute.
In the gross pouring rain, by the way.
Yeah, in the gross pouring rain in this phone booth. And she calls him. They're on a first name basis. And he gives her an out. Yeah. He actually says to her, if you don't run, I'll stop chasing you. Yeah. Her response to this is to go home.
Run.
She drugs her wonderful husband, who has a wonderful family, drugs him, and then before he can pass out, she tells him the truth. She tells him that I'm a fugitive, I'm this and that, and she's like, this isn't me. I don't do taco night.
Right. And that goes all the way back to what we were talking about almost at the beginning of this, about Kate as a person. She's just so emotionally immature, and all she does is run, and her decisions never make sense, and they're always completely inherently selfish.
Yes.
Always. The whole show. My episode that I don't think that it furthered the plot any. It's in season 3, and I think I don't know, maybe episode 3. It's Locke in a commune. Locke's commune episode makes no sense. It doesn't make sense for his character. Yes, it doesn't make sense time-wise. No, I mean, like, for his character, like, where he had been just time-wise, that he had all of a sudden spent years on a commune? Like, that in his life story, it's just so random in there, and it doesn't... But we're, like, working in the city at a toy store. We're working in the city at a box company. Now we're farming on a commune in the middle of nowhere. Pot farming. It was such a randomly written episode.
It's a weird episode.
Also, like Jack's Thailand episode. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate everything about that episode.
It's the dumbest episode ever.
Also, harmful Asian mysticism stereotypes. He's in Thailand, but somehow this Thai woman is tattooing him with only Chinese characters, and that's all she's like. What are you talking about? Why couldn't you go to China if that's what you're going to get tattooed? Like,
I don't know. And there was that is another really, really stupid flashback. And also that the tattoo says
I forgot
something like he is among us, but he is not one of us.
Yeah, not one of us. Mm-hmm. It's B who recognized that B clue.
Yes,
isn't it?
Yep.
Isn't she the one?
I think she is.
I can't remember.
I don't know.
Somebody recognizes what it says.
Yeah, like, do you know what that says? Yeah, and it's just, I don't know what that episode. Why? Right. That didn't even tell us anything about Jack as a person.
Further the plot. I don't think either of those really further the plot that much.
I think that for me, the one about the commune only furthers John's storyline because it shows that he is so desperate for love, approval, and affirmation that he joined a cult.
Yeah, I don't love all the flashbacks.
No.
But some of them.
But then the flashbacks with the psychic Like those kind of flashbacks are great because you're like, what the hell's going on? Yeah. It's like she's just found out he's pregnant, and then he reads the cards, and she's
just found out he's pregnant.
No, she just found out he's pregnant. She's pregnant. Sorry,
and she just found out that guy was.
He
pregnant.
gives her money back and everything. He's like, nope, can't do this. Here, get the fuck out. Take your money. Leave.
Right. But it's just so weird because we find out he's not really psychic, but only this one time.
Oh, but wait. Okay. Is he psychic or isn't he? And then his daughter is the one who drowned.
Right.
And then Mr. Echo is the priest that comes to investigate it.
The miracle.
He's not really a priest.
Right.
That whole miracle thing. And then that girl shows up at the airport in Sydney and tells him that she's got a message from his brother. So the psychic's daughter was psychic-ish.
Yeah.
But was I believe that the psychic saw darkness around the child, and he was like, well, I don't want any part of whatever's going on here. But then when she comes back and he tells her, you cannot, right? What does he say? You can't give the baby up? Yeah.
I don't remember.
No, he goes off on her, and that's why this is so confusing. And he tells her, you can't give the baby up. You can't give the baby. If you give the baby up, bad things, horrible. So he's like, no, you can't give it up for adoption. Then he starts calling her. We find out that the psychic has been calling Claire now for a while. And she's like, will you leave me alone? And then he tells her, I found an adoptive family in California. And she's like, you told me not to give the baby up. And he's like, no, this is going to be great. These people are awesome. Okay? And so he pays for her to fly to Los Angeles.
He puts her on flight 815. Yeah.
Because he knew the plane was going to crash.
Yeah.
So he was psychic.
I know, but he claims in that episode that he's really not. Like to Echo, like, I'm really not. So I don't know how he says something like, well, sometimes. Because he knew.
Well, I don't think every psychic is psychic all the time. So it's like if you ever go to mediums or psychics, sometimes it's like, sometimes they're great and you go back to them and you're like, just tell me you don't have it today and I'm fine. Please don't pretend. And then, like, Ana Lucia, we get a whole giant backstory for her, and then we kill her.
Yeah.
That's so many minutes of television that we did not need to waste.
Correct. That's exactly right.
Although I think that I like we said Lord of the Flies, but I think the Tailies were a more realistic portrayal.
I agree.
Of how things would have been. Those people were traumatized.
Very.
And they acted traumatized.
What was going on with the hostels and those people was way different than what was going on with the front of the plane people. Because it seemed like the front of the plane people, they were just getting a list of everybody there and maybe traumatizing Claire a bit. But they were just snatching folks left and right off the beach.
But my favorite moment, though, is when they do the census. One of my favorite moments is when it's because the way that whole episode comes together with the census and us starting to learn, oh, wait a minute. And then when Hurley's like, he's like, the guy Ethan, he wasn't on the plane. He wasn't
on the manifest. Yeah, that's one of my biggest what the fuck moments is.
And my other what the fuck moment is when Jin comes running, he comes running out of the jungle. Others. And it's like,
Jin actually has, if you ask, like, what's the best line in the whole entire show, Jin actually has the best line. It's just one word when he looks up and they say, what is that? And he goes, monster. Just he delivers that monster.
Yep.
What's that? But yeah, that's actually the scariest moment in the show is when they turn around and Ethan is standing there.
Yes.
And it's like actually horror movie type scene because we just learned he wasn't on the manifest and they turn around and Ethan is the creepiest. That poor actor. I'm sure he's a great person, but he is so creepy in that scene. Poor Ethan.
Ethan was a horrible human being because Ethan is supposedly a surgeon. He's a doctor. Now we know he was born on the island, so maybe that warped him. But what
he was best friends with Ben, by the way, which also had to be warping him a bit.
What he did to Charlie, he like strung Charlie up.
Well, first of all, Ethan
why
so
was
strong?
he so strong?
Why does this surgeon
why
know
we're
how,
friends?
Why does he know kung fu?
He pulls him up one-handed.
Yeah.
One-handed, he lifts a man. The man's feet are a couple inches off the ground.
Charlie was little, but still.
My husband is huge, and he couldn't lift Charlie up with one hand.
Yeah, but all of them, like, he's beating the crap out of him. Like, absolutely, all the people Jack, too. Doesn't he beat Jack? Did I make that up?
He
absolutely beats them up.
The shit out of everybody.
So how is he so strong, and why do they know how to fight so well? And how did he become a surgeon? Was he, did he go to college?
Did he have to go to school on the mainland? Was it a correspondence course? Oh.
But that was really the creepiest moment in the show.
Oh,
those
and
first
also
few
because
episodes.
of the rain.
Right, he's so creepy.
Water, and the rain so well on the show. It's just the rain is a character.
And another
in
moment
the show.
when it's raining, that's also another moment like that is when Ana Lucia shoots Shannon. That was shocking, like absolutely,
I didn't think
scream-inducingly shocking when that happened.
Yeah,
because she was just talking to Walt, right? She was just talking to Walt,
and then she goes to
like, yeah.
Oh, that is it. I could not believe that happened. That's one of the most shocking. That is shocking, and then subsequently Libby and Ana Lucia's shooting by Michael.
Yeah, when Michael shot them,
I was like, I
forgot it. I forgot that
really?
happened.
Oh,
and so not only the first time I saw it in like 2005 did I scream, but then when I saw it last month, I also was like, oh my God, Michael shot Libby. I could not believe that happened.
It's like we really don't care about Ana Lucia, but the way Libby walks in and she's getting the blankets and she's going on the date with Hurley, and it's such a and then she just gets shot.
And then she actually tells them that she was like, Michael, and they're like, yeah, it's fine, he's fine. She's like, no.
And that's the other thing. I hate Libby's. That's in my notes. Libby's death scene is one of the most horrible death scenes because they think she's dead, but then she's not. She starts to breathe. Mm-hmm. And now she's in excruciating pain, and the actress does such a great job with her face and her eyes. I know that is her job as an actor. I get that. But communicating the terror, and part of her terror is that she's trying to tell them that Michael is the one that shot her and Ana Lucia.
And they just keep saying, he's fine. She's like, no.
She's so terrified. Yeah, and she dies in terror.
Right?
And that kills me because Libby,
sweet character.
Weird and was in a lot of places, but she was very good. Oop, I just killed my microphone. She was a very good
sweet
person.
character.
Love the Libby.
I love her so much, and I do think that she picked the best man on the islands. You're going to hear me say that. I think that she made the right choice. Hurley was the best choice. She knew what was going on to stay with Hurley. But when we're talking about what the fuck moments, one of the biggest when you watch this show the first time is when the hatch door came down and you saw that black light map, this big map. Yeah. And I remember... I don't remember what episode it was, but it was kind of towards the end of a season, so we didn't find out what that was about for a very long time. And I don't remember knowing what it was for, like, I don't think I ever remembered what was going on that until I rewatched it. Like, now we get what's going on. That map was crazy.
Very, 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 very long time later. You're like, oh yeah, there was writing in there.
Yeah.
And by the time you find out,
But that map was being drawn by Kelvin and the person, Redzinski, who was there before Kelvin.
Yeah.
And he was drawing it with, like, laundry detergent, which wouldn't have made multiple different colors. They had this map that was multiple different black light colors, but he was just supposedly doing it with things he was mixing up with, like, detergent and little paints and stuff. It wouldn't have been all those colors. And if you notice, they do the door down, the lights are on, so it's invisible, and he can't see what he's doing and what's already been painted. It's like,
that
do
was
you guys
weird.
don't think this through?
Did he have a black light or something? I don't know. Like, how was he doing
crazy.
that? That is a weird. That was a very, very weird.
That part, I don't.
The whole
like
hatch is weird.
Well, I don't like saying things are poorly written. I just think that was poorly written. That particular part, like he was mixing up detergent and then invisibly painting on the wall for absolutely no reason. He could have just walked outside and seen all these things, but he was making a weird map like a crazy person. I don't know.
Wow. Yeah.
Anyway.
Ugh. So much. Do you want to talk about Juliet a little bit?
Yeah, she comes in. It changes everything, doesn't it?
The first episode of season 3 is such a great episode of television because where we end, and then where you're expecting to come back to, and instead it's like somebody's putting on a record, and then you see this pretty blonde lady. She's so pretty, and
with
she's
her bananas,
and you can see that she's a little upset about something, but she pulls herself back together. And now these people are having a book club.
Yeah, book club.
And then, and you can see there's some, there's a little bit of between her and Ben and everything, and then there's an earthquake, which is him not pushing the button.
Right.
And then they run outside. And then that plane breaking apart, that scene haunts me because I'm in the landing path for Newark Airport, and I see so many times, also having watched 9/11 happen, clear blue skies and a low-flying airplane creeps me the fuck out.
Yeah, that was a bold choice right after 9/11 to have this show do that.
I mean, to make a show about a plane crash after 9/11.
It really was.
But that plane breaking up.
And then Ben sent Ethan to the front part and Goodwin to the back part, and we learned much later that he was punishing Goodwin by sending him off because he knew.
But how did he know?
He knew that Juliet and Goodwin were having.
No. But how did he know that was going to be?
I know. Well, yeah, exactly.
The worst place to be.
But also, these were two of their most important people. If Ethan was such an important surgeon for your back problems, why would you send him into danger? Why would you send him off into the jungle? You'd keep him close. There were other people there he could have sent.
Goodwin is the one who was managing the death fog chemicals, right?
The hell? I was just like, I don't know. It just seemed like a weird choice to send those two off when they were important, and he had other people he could have sent to do that.
Yeah. And so I think Juliet's... I love Juliet.
Yeah. Weren't they reading Carrie?
Yes. And Ben is so pissed off. Them reading Carrie.
Wasn't this book club like right after he'd had his bad date with her? Like he'd invited her over for dinner.
Yes.
And she didn't know it was going to be just
and that's
the two
why,
of them.
And then she realized he's never going to let her go.
Yeah.
Like he's told her now, and like, no, you're mine. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, but somebody said, you look just like her. Like who? Like the little girl that carved him the dolls? Is that who she's supposed to look like?
What happened to Annie? The little girl who carved the dolls is Annie. Okay.
Yes.
Did he kill her when they killed everybody else from the Dharma Initiative?
Presumably.
Or did they send her to the temple? Where's Annie?
Presumably, and that actually bugs me because we see that there are children on this island. They have a school and everything. So he killed the kids and everything? Like he just killed everyone but him and Ethan?
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah. And the other thing is the interchangeability of blonde women, apparently. Because they say you look just like her, meaning Annie, but also Ben or somebody says that the reason that they're sending her in to talk to Jack is because she looks just like his ex-wife.
Which she doesn't.
She blonde. She's just a blonde. They don't all look alike.
Let me say, I do know that people do that. The amount of comments that I get, you look just like, and it'll just be another brunette woman. Like I look nothing like this person in any way, and it's constant. Yeah. It's every single day, and I will look nothing like that person other than we have long brown hair. So people do that, I guess. But yeah, she doesn't look anything like Sarah. No. And why would Jack just put Sarah? Like, why would he even think that himself? Like, surely he sees other blonde women and doesn't lose his mind. This is so stupid.
Yeah, and it was very weird. Very, 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 some really, really dumb.
But Juliet is really, really cold. And she seems cold and manipulative herself in these first episodes, at least, right?
And she's very, very good at the manipulation.
Yeah, we don't
know
who she is yet.
And she continues to manipulate. I mean, she does. She does. And I mean, she's doing it to survive. But, like, we know she's a researcher. You know, so when he's trying to think about the cold, well, she's a scientist. She's a doctor, but she's a researcher.
She was also tricked into coming to the island.
Oh, God. She was tricked horribly and then held hostage there by him saying, you know, if you stay, we'll cure your sister's cancer. Yeah. But if you leave, she's going to die. Yeah. Ben is such a horrible human being when he does shit like that.
Yes. But also, I'll tell you one thing I don't get, because remember when he says Richard. I know he says the name Richard. When he shows Juliet the video of her sister with the little boy, or is it a little boy? Yes. On the playground. And he's like, all right, you can cut the camera, meaning that he was there in real time. Yeah. So Richard just leaves the island all willy-nilly and goes...
Apparently, well, we know because he was the one who recruited her.
Yeah, and we know Tom leaves the island willy-nilly, like just... Right? Like, that's so strange.
Well, I guess the sub could go really long distance.
But you know as well as I do that takes a very long time to go.
It would take a very long time, even by submarine. I don't care how fast the sub is, to get them to Miami.
like planes
from
and then
being near Fiji
to get on planes and then subs. It would take days of travel to do that, and they're just somehow back and forth. No problem.
And how are they able to beam a live signal from Miami to the island
in 2005
when you can't even find the island?
In 2005, by the way.
But you can't find the island. Like, that's the whole point. Is the island is always moving?
No,
right,
they could because they had the coordinates.
But how could a signal find the island? Come on.
I don't know. That whole part really was confusing to me. I wanted to ask you, because shortly after we meet Juliet, we have Sawyer and Kate in cages, bear cages or whatever.
Yeah.
So we have Sawyer and Kate in bear cages, but we have Jack in this weird kind of indoor place. Here's where, please, you or anybody at home, tell me if I'm just really reading wrongly into this. I tried to watch this show like this. She tells him, this is where we kept the sharks and dolphins. And we know that later on, he opens that door and all the water comes rushing in. He's in a room with a ceiling, not a tank, and a door. How did they keep dolphins and sharks in that room? And it's got an intercom. Like,
I think she meant the station is where they kept them, not the room.
But she was talking to him about him being in that room with the glass. Because he was behind the glass, and she was like, this is where they kept the dolphins and the sharks. And I'm like, did I just really, like, that's what we're supposed to think, because we saw that shark with the, the tattoo, that they were in that room, but somehow, and it did get flooded.
Yeah.
So they could flood it. But,
yeah. I mean, I guess they could at will, but then there would be no way for them to get the sharks in and out. Would need, like, dolphins don't need, I mean, sharks don't need to surface for air, but dolphins do.
And there was a ceiling on this, and there was just an open door, and they had, like, electronic, I don't know, that whole thing just seemed so strange to me.
It was such a stupid. So why do they have the thumbticks with the frilly ends? Like, why would you have that on that island? Why would you have cocktail toothpicks? I mean, I like cocktail toothpicks are cute and funny, and as a kid, I thought they were the neatest thing in the whole world, and if we got a platter that had them, we'd all be stealing them, and my mother would be yelling.
You mean like when he was with Kate, when Ben was at the...
Well, no, because Juliet...
Oh, she made him the sandwiches.
The grilled cheese.
Yeah, right, sandwiches.
And he's like, you really made this? And she's like, well, I put in the toothpicks. And it was the cocktail toothpicks with the little frilly stuff at the end. And I'm like, but why do you have those? Why would you have those on that island?
I know.
Like...
Well, it was the 70s, the Dharma Initiative. You know, they had the cocktail parties.
So that is another thing. So the Dharma Initiative was in the 70s. And then Ben's people took it over. But it's not the Dharma Initiative anymore.
In 92.
I don't know. And then, and I don't, so then the scene where, so Jack tells Kate, so Kate and Sawyer, after having really, really gross cage sex.
No.
Thank you. By gross, we want to be clear. We mean
gross.
Filthy.
They have been working outside, breaking rocks for days. Disgusting manual labor, wearing the same clothes for weeks at a time.
Toothbrushes. And when I don't understand, because this line gets used a lot in TV and books and shit, where a man kisses a woman and says she tastes like strawberries.
No, she doesn't.
No one tastes like strawberries.
Nobody.
People taste like mouth.
Okay. Exactly. Maybe some toothpaste, but just...
If you're lucky, there's like a little minty freshness because somebody just Listerine. But for the most part, they taste like mouth. And when he says that to her and she says, you taste like fish biscuits, I'm like, well, at least a little honesty. But him getting the fish biscuits is such a great bit.
And it's honestly the funniest thing when Tom comes up, he's like, hey, you got a fish biscuit. Why, that's so funny to me. I'm like, okay. He's so proud of himself.
Yeah,
he
was very proud.
So disgusting. For some reason, I've never felt this way about any show but Lost. Every time there's kissing or physical intimacy, it is the most awkward, disgusting. I've never felt like this. In Lost, the physical intimacy is so awkward and weird.
There's something
and
wrong
disgusting.
When they kiss, there's something wrong with their mouths.
I don't know.
It has to be the direction. Otherwise, all of these people are watching each other and being like, oh yeah, it's how you kiss on TV.
I was watching Buffy last night. There's a lot of kissing in Buffy. It never makes me be like, oh, that's gross and weird. it's gross and weird in Lost, isn't it? Every time.
It is. It's like their mouths are too open, and
or something. I don't know.
Something is just really weird, and it totally ruins any romanticism because I'm like, why are you doing? What's going on right now? But that scene, I've always also, it's one of those things, hate it, love it, because it is a moment where she thinks he's going to die tomorrow.
Yeah.
He thinks he's going to die tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so they do this. And it means something more to him than it means to her. But it does mean something to her.
Yeah, sure.
And then the afterwards, when she's asleep in his arms, I'm like, you know, he really loves her. And he tells her he loves her. There's that whole scene where they're like, you know, I'm going to kill him. You know, I'm like, do you love him? Do you love him? And she finds, yes, I love him. And then Sawyer's like, I know you only said that so they wouldn't kill me. But I think as much as Kate can love
anybody, as Kate can, exactly.
She loves Sawyer and she loves Jack. She also loved the boy with the airplane and Nathan Fillion. Sure. And maybe the marshal. I don't know.
So we wanted to talk, as we kind of wrap up today's Lost episodes, about Desmond. Because we haven't really spoken about Desmond yet, and he becomes really, really important.
Really, really, really important. Desmond is such a great character.
He really is.
And I love how he calls everybody brother.
Brother.
Just brother. Brother.
Did he learn to do that in the monastery? Brother.
I wonder.
That's when they started doing that.
Yeah. So Desmond has been a soldier, a monk, a sailor around the world solo person, where the hell did he learn how to do that? You don't just suddenly start sailing around the world solo. Like, people have to train for years for that. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, Desmond, we first see him with Jack, but we first see him in the hatch. He's been down there losing his mind for years, pressing that button. And then as soon as somebody comes out, he's like, I'm out. Yep. I'm leaving. I'm not staying here anymore. You guys have fun. And I love him so much. But when we start seeing Desmond's flashbacks and things like that, I absolutely think he's amazing. I love him as a character, but he is absolutely a terrible person. Like, he's a
shit show.
He would be exhausting to be around as a person. Because he's engaged to this lady, Ruth, and instead of telling Ruth that, hey, I don't want to be engaged anymore, he just goes and joins a monastery. He's engaged to Penny, and instead of telling Penny, hey, I don't want to get married, he goes and joins the army. Like, that's really just awful.
His off-island Desmond is not necessarily a good person.
No, he's not.
No, but I think 3 years... Well, he wasn't in solitude the entire 3 years, but for a good part of it, right? He's alone.
Just being with another person is still pretty solitary.
I mean, it can change. It can change a person. He's had a lot of time to reflect, and he knows that Penny is the love of his life.
But is she? I mean, he pushed her away so many times, and he meets her when he's coming out of this monastery that he got kicked out of.
On the day he got kicked out, and he hitches a ride with her in the wine.
And then when she finally is like, well, we could be together, he's like, no, I have to sail around the world.
Well, because he goes and interviews with her father.
Yeah.
And she thinks he's interviewing for a job, and he's interviewing to ask for Penny's hand in marriage. And Charles Widmore is a jerk off.
He is.
And so he's absolutely horrible to Desmond. But Desmond's way of handling that is to run away.
Again.
I mean, they're over there painting, and she moved in with him into his crappy flat because... And she's like, but this is what you wanted. And he's like, I can't even give you a home. Look at this crappy flat. And she's like, we could have lived in my beautiful apartment, but you didn't want to. You wanted to live in your shitty flat. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? I don't know. And then he calls her. And I don't think is this in season 3 when he's time traveling in his head?
No, it is in season 3.
when he calls her and he says, I'm going to call you on December 24th.
So this is when he gets unstuck in time because they stop pushing the button. That all goes wrong, and it's all Locke's fault, by the way.
Yes.
Locke and Echo, they're having a little tussle down there, and Locke decides we don't need to push the button anymore, and it was really bad. They did need to push that button, and Desmond remembers, I got a key. The world's about to end. Kelvin told me to turn this key, so he crawls down the little pipe, and he pushes, turns that key, and it ends up...
massive electromagnetism
Right,
is.
the hatch gets imploded, and he somehow, because he's Desmond, gets thrown out into the jungle buck naked. I don't know if it's like... the hatch is a little pervy, but whatever. He loses his clothes and ends up in the jungle.
Star Trek transporter malfunction. Transported him, but it couldn't transport his
clothes. I guess.
Because even Hurley's like, dude, why are you naked?
But now, I put in my notes, he's like Billy Pilgrim. He becomes unstuck in time. Yep. And it's not like he's time traveling. He starts going back to different parts of his own life in that time when he's there. So he only learns from Daniel Faraday, who we'll talk about next time, that you got to have like an anchor. You got to have a person, or you're just your brain's going to liquefy and turn to mush. And so it's Penny, and that's when he calls and tells Penny, I'm going to call you on this date. And she's like, all right, asshole, whatever you say.
Phone number. Why does she even talk to him?
Exactly. I don't know. She could do so much better. I do love Desmond, but come on, Penny.
I mean, after what he did to her.
And this is a decade because he was in the military in 1994. So it's 2004, presumably, when he calls her. I can tell you, I think I'm a good person, but I would not be around for any of my ex-boyfriends 10 years later. Not a single one would.
Nope.
So, and then he starts having visions of Charlie dying. Over and over and over again. And it's like Final Destination style. He saves him, but death keeps coming after him.
But this ties back to when he's doing the time jumping, he talks to a woman who...
Creepy ring lady
who we don't know who she is at this point in the story. We find out later. And she points out that the guy in the red sneakers, you see that guy? And he's like, well, you knew that was going to happen. And she's like, yes. And he's like, but you didn't do anything. And she's like, well, because you can't change anything. What happened, happened. And that's actually what Daniel Faraday says, and I'm paraphrasing. Yeah. So Desmond believes, so he, and she's like, you could try to prevent it, but it would still happen anyway. Mm-hmm. So, but he still keeps trying to save Charlie's life, even though Charlie has to die.
So he says.
That's what he says. That's what he
says. It keeps happening. It keeps happening, and he keeps dying in different ways, and he keeps saving it. And then he has this vision. What he says is, I see Claire getting on a helicopter with her baby, but you died. And he tells him how he died and blah, blah, blah. So
but he didn't see Claire.
Right. It's impossible that he did. It's
he
just
either
impossible.
Saw Kate or son.
With the baby.
So there's no way you're mistaking one of them for Claire.
No, definitely not.
So he lies to Charlie. He lies to Charlie because in this is the time that Charlie dying will be useful to Desmond.
Yeah, and he thinks that it will get Penny's boat here. He thinks it's Penny coming.
Mm-hmm. So now it's okay for Charlie to die.
And he's told Charlie this, and so Charlie would do anything for Claire. He's come to this horrible episode where Charlie's going back through his greatest hits, the best moments in his life, which are all sweet, sweet things in his life when he was a little boy and all this stuff. And Melissa and I have talked a long time about this. Charlie did not need to die.
No.
Mikhail, his, 9 lives Mikhail... flew, swam up.
How, like the first time you saw it, how freaked out were you when all of a sudden it's like, knock, 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 Mikhail's at the door with a hand grenade.
It's very cartoonish almost, isn't it?
Right. Mikhail's gonna die too.
Yes.
This
for
time.
Sure. Maybe.
Is he really dead or is he floating around in the ocean?
Right.
And how did he... Everything about that scene is so weird. And Liza, would you like to tell us, did it have to happen?
Well, I mean, Charlie sees it, so he has time to react. And this room is really small. It's like a closet. Mm-hmm. He could have just jumped out and sealed that door. But Desmond has told him he has to die. He knows what's coming. So he closes himself in the door and closes it. And then he's talked to Penny. And Penny's like, I'm not coming. That's not us. I don't know who that is. It's not me, though. So he Sharpies on his hand, not Penny's boat. So he can still give Desmond that message at the end, which is horrible because he had plenty of time to get out and shut that door, and then maybe they go swim away and do something else. But he does that, and he dies, and he swims away, and he makes the sign of the cross.
Which every time sometimes I hold it together, but I get to where he makes the sign of the cross because of what that meant. Charlie,
especially since he's like reliving his time when he jumped into his dad, and his dad's like, oh my God. And then it didn't happen. None of that happened. Nothing that he said was going to happen happened.
No, Claire didn't get off the island.
Penny didn't come. Like, it was none of it. Like, anyway, so that's not how that worked. And so I don't believe that Charlie had to die.
Is I think a lot of people just will always remember not Penny's boat. I mean,
and presumably had he not died, Claire wouldn't have gone off the deep end. You know, like that whole thing wouldn't have happened like that. Because Charlie would have gone into the jungle to find her wherever she was.
Desmond becomes such a huge part of the storytelling in season 3, and then Juliet and the others, and season 3 is such a huge shift tonally. You're just like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. And then on our next episode, we're going to go into the final seasons, and season 4 is a little weird because of the writer's strike.
Yeah, it's really weird.
They had 25 episodes planned, and they're like, no, you get about 14.
Yeah. And we realized that we had not even talked about Danielle Rousseau this whole entire episode, and she is an important part, and we both love her, so we are going to talk about Rousseau quite a lot, hopefully next time. She's very important to this story.
Figures largely into the latter part of the story, and we know we have forgotten to talk about a lot of people in so many storylines, but it's
so many.
Really hard to talk about Lost.
66 episodes or so, right? Mm-hmm. It's a lot.
My notes, I've been dictating notes into my phone as I've been rewatching this time, and I was like, let me just print these out, and then I can go through and I can highlight things and tease out stuff. And I told Liza, I went to go print it. It's 61 pages.
Yeah.
I have dictated 61 8.5 by 11 pages.
Yeah, it's so much. It's impossible to go through this. I mean, we could probably have a podcast just on Lost and go.
People have. People have.
Exactly.
We could just do a Lost rewatch podcast. But,
right.
Anyway, we would, I know you have lots of thoughts, everyone.
So let me ask you one last question before we get off today. For these seasons, just the ones we've watched, not the whole show, just these, who is your MVP for seasons 1 through 3? And that could mean anything. Just the most valuable person. Me too! That's also mine! Me too.
He actually interacts with everybody in a neutral or positive way.
And he's a morale booster for everyone on there. And he's not manipulative to anyone, unlike so many of the others.
And he helps.
He was brave.
He helps everybody, and he's brave, and he helps people, and he tries to do what's right. And he also stands up when he believes that what they're doing is wrong.
He's also kind of like an audience anchor. Like for us as an audience, he kind of anchors the show as well. Yeah, he was mine as well. I think that we could also make an argument that Saeed was the most valuable on the island. You know?
Oh, yeah.
If they didn't have him, a lot of stuff would not have worked out.
Well, because they didn't have the professor and coconuts. So instead of
they had Arzt,
Saeed.
But they blew him up.
Oh, my God. When you've got a little bit of Arzt in your hair.
I got a little bit of Arzt on you. Oh, God. Good. It was so disgusting, though, them blowing up poor Dr. Arzt.
Friggin' happens on this show. Like, you totally even forget that Dr. Arzt happened.
Yeah. They blew him up.
That poor man blew up. We forget they went to get the dynamite.
If they don't quit touching that dynamite, I swear to God, I'm going to lose my mind. Like, stop touching it.
Nobody ever should have touched that dynamite. Dynamite is so unstable, and it's been out in the humidity for
But again, Hurley's the only one who's like, maybe we shouldn't touch the very unstable dynamite. Maybe that's a bad idea. Yeah.
Maybe that's a bad idea. Yeah.
Are you guys still with us? Is anybody, still here? We've been talking so much.
I know. It's a lot. It really is. So share your thoughts and arguments with us in the comments.
Yeah. Yeah, tell us where we're crazy and what we don't get right and what we forgot and who's your favorite and all that stuff that we tried to talk about.
All that stuff. And we hope you enjoyed listening to us go on a very meandering tour of the first 3 seasons of Lost, as we do. That's why it's called Fandomly speaking, because we are randomly speaking about our fandoms.
So
it's not called organized speaking.
We try.
We try, but it's
so hard.
Some of these things are just too hard.
It's
too
a lot.
Hard. Yeah. And Liza, where can they find us?
You can find us on YouTube, but also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And we are over on TikTok and Instagram talking to you guys, doing lots of stuff so you can interact with us there as well. And we have a Patreon, so check that out as well.
Yes. And until we see everyone again,
stay unmasked and overstimulated. And we will see you guys later.
Thank you for watching, everybody. Bye.